That's it. We're live, guys. We're live.
And we're back.
Here's what we're going to do. We're just going to kick this right off the right way. And we're going to play the intro. Here we go. Yeah, that's right. Let's jack this up. Welcome to the show. Too bad can't hear anymore. That's right. Hello, and welcome to the long-awaited, long-missed, finally back at it, another Date Night Thrice podcast. This is number 59 after probably a 1-year hiatus. I don't even know. No, not quite that long.
I have no idea.
But here's the thing. Ken came to visit, and that was it. It was too much to say goodbye to him, and we had to get back online. We had to get the podcast going. We are actually recording the podcast live to Twitch, just like we do the D-List. This is the first time we've ever done this. Emily does not look prepared for being live on Twitch.
How do I see?
You are
I am such a mess tonight. I am struggling.
How about this? While Emily tries to get her bearings,
I found it.
We give a little bit of time for people to join the live stream.
Why don't we all go around and say a fun fact about ourselves?
I want to hear about Ken's puppy. I want Ken to tell me about his new puppy.
Yeah.
While I sit back and relax and let the fact that we're live to Twitch. Yeah.
Whew.
That's all we are.
Don't you miss that
live
experience?
on Twitch?
Yeah. Forever. Cuteness.
The best. That's the best.
Well, that's good, though. I mean, psychopath. Yeah. Yeah. Right, yeah.
Okay.
Oof. It's a long time then.
I mean, that's exactly the problem we had, right? Like, Potato only cares about having somebody to play with. And as soon as we finally got her somebody to play with, best dog ever. But before that,
Joe is saying that he can't hear Ken.
He can't hear Ken. Well, I will fix that problem. I'm so sorry. No, that is 100% my fault.
Well, now we got to start over.
I guess we got to start over. All right. Let's do a test. Test. Can everybody hear Ken?
It's like just Joe.
Thank goodness Joe said something, because I did not have OBS pointing audio at Discord. So
You're such a mess.
I'm so glad that somebody said something, because I'm sure that they can hear him now.
We should probably be good now.
All right. So we were ready to get a dog, and then
Joe,
we got him.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You saved this.
Our audio engineer,
potential
Joe.
disaster.
Yeah. How much do we owe you? Like, bill
He's
us.
just off screen in your basement.
The audio engineer saved us. For anybody who let's say doesn't watch the D-List, we used to use a streaming service that cost money, and when we stopped doing the podcast, I stopped paying for it. So now I have to stream everything, which means I have to set it all up, and I am not a professional streamer, so I do my best. I'm so sorry.
Shame on you.
So, Ken,
so we
what's
had
up?
Well, not much. Are we starting from the beginning?
I think so, because no
I
one
can do
heard
the
you.
abridged. I
That
can
was
do the abridged
a
version.
wonderful intro of me and
Yeah.
Emily breathing into the mics while you're animatedly talking about this puppy that you got.
It's like so. I feel like I was already so flustered
give us the
ahead
clip
of time.
notes.
Well, I want a clip of that ASMR.
Like,
Your friend is telling you a story, but the sound is muted. And it's just you breathing and like, yeah.
It needs to be like you talking, and then there's like a GTA mod on jumps down a thing underneath.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Okay. I'm like hot from this scenario.
This is a disaster already.
No, this is
Welcome
good.
back to the show, everyone.
Back
My
to the
camera
usual.
like cannot
Yeah.
focus. Okay.
Look, Ken does the same thing I do. He has a paint light upside down.
Oh, yeah, you guys both.
I have
do.
it upside. Look at this. It's exactly the
Looks
same.
like lightsabers.
It's the same light, I think. I
Yeah.
got rid of it because it physically encroaches upon me. On or off, right? It's always just right out of reach. And I was like, this is kind I'm feeling I gotta clean my work desk up. Anyway, now it's back because I need more light. So we wanted a dog. We talked about it forever. Things didn't work out. We got this puppy. It's shockingly timid. But more importantly, we couldn't figure out what to name it. And I was texting you guys today. You know, we went through all the classics. Kalinar. Jeez.
Do Kalinar.
Kaladin.
That's good.
Yeah.
Calendar is a good name.
Kaladin Stormblessed.
Kaladin
And we were just going
Stormblessed,
to call it
yeah.
Cal, right?
Windrunner.
Dalinar. Jeez, I can't pronounce any of these. Dalinar. What's his last name?
Dalinar
Colin.
Colin.
The Blackthorn.
The Blackthorn, yes.
Can you
But then
imagine having to say
realistically-
that every time, yeah.
Dalinar, no! That's
This is
in
my
that
dog,
voice from the
Dalinar
audio.
Colin the Blackthorn.
Right.
Well, what
King
should I
of
call him? You should call him
Alistar?
Dalinar Colin the Blackthorn.
Yeah.
I just
Leader
told
of
you.
Urathiru.
Right. He's a bondsmith.
Right.
Just you introduce him as this is Dalinar Colin the Blackthorn, but you can call him the bondsmith.
Oh, and also he's a bondsmith, right? Like some sort of job he has, I guess. Or
beer out.
Don't do that. We don't need another setback right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Like,
but realistically, we had a whole bunch of names. Like I wanted to name it Kit, which is because he
That's
sort of
good.
looks like a fox. And there was all sorts of like Skip or Scout or just short
Squeaky.
things you can yell really easy, basically.
yeah.
And we landed on, I don't know how we got to it. He's Rocket. So you
Ooh.
can call him Rocket, Rocky, Kit,
Yeah.
whatever you want. It was
That's
sort of the
cute.
best of both worlds. But trying to negotiate 5 people, particularly 3 children who think I've got the name right here and
Right,
it
I
won't
got
be
it.
shot
Yeah.
down.
What were some of the other ones
If
that
you
they
don't
said?
accept this name, I'm going to be angry for an
Yeah.
extremely long period of time.
Right. So it was kind of nice because even the name that I originally wanted, we didn't land on. We just sort of naturally got to a name that nobody had thought of. So, because I wanted to name it, I said Kit, but what was the other one? Somebody said Sprite, which I think is
Kinda
really
fun.
That's
cute,
cute. That's
Mhm.
cute.
but also it's a pop. And it was like, I don't know.
Coca-Cola.
Well, and also it's not going to be like a small dog. It's not a
Yeah.
Sprite-like dog, right?
Yeah.
I like
Um,
Rocket. For some reason, I feel like I would call Rocket Roger all the time. I don't know why.
I mean, you
You
call him
could.
whatever you want.
Yeah.
Ricky, yeah. We did
That has a lot
Rocket,
of potential. there.
Bolt, a whole bunch of single syllable
Okay.
ones.
Just whatever.
But so far he's been spectacular. I'm sure things will get tough, so we'll see. I
That's
don't know.
good. Maybe it
He's
won't.
very cute.
And we have
Maybe it won't.
a male cat named Gloria, so anything is allowed.
Yeah, you can have whatever you want. Gloria, and then we usually call Ooey Rosie. So Gloria and
Bit
Rosie are
rules.
boys.
Lil Uivert.
Exactly.
Man, he always just sits outside, barks at the edge of the fence, and I always just have to walk outside and be like, Rose, that's enough. No more, man.
That is, it's like 5:30
That's
a.m.
enough.
I can hear Ben on the deck. You gotta stop this.
That's
That's
enough.
enough.
No,
and it's
no
like,
more.
just get him inside. It is 5:30 a.m. Like,
And it's so
Bart-
funny, like he'll stop because he knows he's not allowed to do that. Like he's
Oh,
not
yeah.
that dumb. He knows.
Oh, he gets caught. Yeah, and he.
Oh, if he sees my face through the window, he'll stop and do that look, like as if I wasn't doing anything. And as soon
Wasn't
as you
me.
go away, it's
How much
like,
did you see? Yeah.
So,
Some dog over there barking at me.
exactly.
Sounds just like you.
After being gone for 6, 8, 7, I don't know long we've been gone for. We could come back. We could do anything, but we've come back to the same format. The show returns with this is a top 3 countdown of our top 3 things of whatever, right? So hopefully
call
you
that
brought 3
format,
things to
but-
talk about, and we're going to see what happens. We also have some unbelievably, I can't even call them listener questions, but we
Oh.
have questions.
I was like, what?
So we have some questions that have been submitted.
do have some.
We're going to touch on those after our first topics.
Okay.
We're going to jump over.
Okay.
And then maybe at the end we'll
On
see
top. Wissana questions.
Wissana questions. Before we get into this, though, before we start talking about talking, I mean, I don't want to say what's been going on because it's been so long.
Sure.
Yeah. Here, Joe's putting a lot of pressure on us. You have had 10 months to come up with these 3 things. Let me tell you, I have thought about this for about the 10 minutes before the stream started. So
Yeah,
don't
I'm
get
so
your hopes
sorry.
up here.
10 minutes
Less
before
time than
wrote
I
down,
have
like,
ever
what?
spent on this
I
list,
don't
which
think
I
about
never
anything.
spend any time.
Yeah.
I thought more about what I can't talk about than what I can.
Right.
And
Yeah. What are things that are either a
Yeah.
dead end or just not worth talking about is what
Yeah,
I
I
usually
didn't
go
have-
to.
Is
Which-
there anything that needs to be said before we get into it about what we've been doing, where we've been at, who
so.
we've become in our 10-month hiatus?
Boring.
Nothing's changed. We didn't. I think it's worth mentioning. I don't think we stopped for any specific reason, and we haven't
Yeah.
particularly come back to it for any specific reason. Right?
Here we are.
Yeah. It's more
It's-
just like we wanted to hang out, and so it's like we could record it. is
And
what-
we've been doing the D list, but the D list is not fun, friendly conversation necessarily.
true.
It's a little raucous, and gets wild every time.
We, I can't
I hope
believe
it's
we
fun
had a
to watch
guest
and
on the
listen.
D list. That was amazing.
Yeah.
We need to do the second half of that last list.
I have to get used to
Ooh.
looking at myself, talking to
have
myself,
to.
and like I think I have 10 months more of aging here. I'm not
I
happy
feel
with
like
what
I
I'm
look about
seeing.
3 years. Like, I don't know.
Nah, you look perfect as always. Don't worry about that.
Okay. I don't know.
All right, well, let's just get into it. You know,
I don't think
Yeah.
we have anything.
if anything
that-
comes up, there's too much, so there's nothing, right? We can't talk about everything, so
Sure,
let's just
right.
get started.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Well, what,
Ben, you wanna
what is
start
that-
us out?
Do you want me to start? I don't think you want me to start. I'm gonna get this out of the way quick. Okay.
Okay. What's about
Guys.
to happen?
Okay.
It is no secret that I have become entrenched in
Quite the dungeon master.
Dungeons and Dragons.
That is true. That is true.
No, but like at Gen Con, not last year, so Gen Con 2022, we went there, and Gen Con has a lot of board game stuff, but it has a lot of RPG stuff. And I was like, I want to do this. I want to do it because we knew our current campaign
Yeah.
was going to end, which I had been a player in, and I was like, I want to be a dungeon master. And since then, it's been nothing but like
That's true.
trying to learn about it, running it, practicing it. I have now been running D&D multiple games for like 18 months, and that is just enough time to find out everything I don't know and figure out that I can get a lot better. So
I do have one thing to say when you're done. Just remind me.
I'll do it right now.
Okay.
Say it right
Are you
now.
sure? I was just gonna say. So we didn't go to Gen Con last year, but last year when it was that time, when it was August, I was like, let's get our place for next year. We'll get it super cheap, right?
Oh, yeah.
We'll get everything. We got like kind of the same
worked out
places we
great.
did before. It's in this apartment. It's like 10 minutes, like a 10-minute walk there,
Yeah.
if that. And then like a couple weeks ago, I got an email being like, yeah, he canceled it. And I was like, no! So we had like such a good price, and now everything in that area is like, it's like,
Oh my
I don't know,
gosh.
2,000 a night.
Well,
Like-
it was the day, like 2 days after the housing lottery for
That
Gen Con. So
too.
it was like, I had a time
Whoa.
slot. We both had time slots for getting Gen Con housing, and I was like, I don't need it.
Yeah. we don't
Whatever.
need
We didn't
it.
even look.
We don't need to get a hotel. There's
well,
no.
by the time
Crazy.
our thing got canceled, it was like, well, there's no housing left. So
It was such
Good
a
luck, bozos.
disaster. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
But so we got a place that's like 10 to 15-minute drive away.
Yeah, we'll have to
just have
drive in.
which
Oh,
isn't
well.
a big deal. But like, I
Yeah.
wanted to be able to like walk around the city and
Yeah.
whatever. But it was just that thing. I got the email and I was like, no, 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 and I couldn't see it, and like, it was so stressful. But I don't know. I feel like that's the biggest thing that's happened to us.
So I wrote down this idea for my number one, and I thought it was kind of clever. I like to talk about it. I didn't come up with this on my own. I've heard other people talk about it, specifically Mike Shea from Sly Flourish. If anybody knows about Sly Flourish or his website or his YouTube channel or his Patreon or whatever, I like that channel. It's really good. But then I realized, how do I spin this so you guys have any idea what the heck I'm talking about? So I'm very curious, like when you guys hear Dungeons and Dragons, or even if you hear tabletop RPGs, like what do you think that is? Like if you were going to start playing, what do you have to get to play? Like what do you need?
To be like where you are, like the DM?
No, just or DM, or if you're just going to play. Like where does that come from? Like how do you even... Let's say somebody's going to ask you to play.
I'm
like,
gonna
what
show up
do you
at someone's
buy?
house and hope they have all my shit.
What do I
Like,
buy?
Yeah, I'm
Sure.
not buying a goddamn thing.
If somebody asks me to play D&D, I'm not spending a cent.
I will show up at that time.
Do you know what edition of D&D is currently being played?
No.
Do you know when that edition came out?
What is this right now? No.
Is this a witch trial? What is
Witch
this?
trial. My topic here is I wanted to talk about 5th edition D&D, which is 10 years old this year,
Okay.
and how 5th edition has now become a system and it's not a Wizards of the Coast product. So when I was getting into D&D, I thought you would have to go buy D&D, like Dungeons and Dragons from Wizards of the Coast books, and then that is what you would play. Now, through circumstances I'm not going to get into here at all, the 5th edition standard rules document is now Creative Commons. So
I
that
want to
means-
get into that, but we
So-
won't. How did that happen?
Here we go.
So
Is
they
that
had-
intentional?
when they released 5th edition, it came with what they called the open gaming license, and it had certain rules about how you could release content
Sure,
as long
that's
as
common.
you had access to certain things. You can only say certain stuff, and you had to have this license referenced. Well, they were going to get rid of that license, and people flipped out. And as a response to that, they finally said, fine, we don't care about this. It wasn't about the rules. It's because they're making like a video game version of D&D, and they were trying to protect. They didn't want to have competitors in that space.
Okay.
So when they were like, oh, this affects the tabletop game, and you guys are all panicking, oh, we don't care. Here's the rules of Creative Commons. That's not what this was about at
They're
all.
like, it's not
Okay.
about you nerds.
Okay.
We don't care.
Yeah.
But because the rules are in Creative Commons,
Yeah.
5th edition has become a system that is independent of Hasbro Wizards of the Coast.
Sure.
And my whole thing about this is, for a dungeon master, players don't need to know this at all. Because
Right.
players having access to a
Don't
lot
care.
of extra stuff and other books is totally allowed. There's lots of companies like Kobold Press and and MCDM. They make stuff for players. They make new classes. They make subclasses. They make abilities and spells. I have 2 spell books up here. But introducing that stuff to the players has some sort of danger to it. How much is it play tested? Is it overpowered? Can you make game breaking stuff? Because the hardest thing for a game master in 5th edition is managing the players being superheroes. Because 5th edition favors the players a lot. That's just how it's
I
built.
do. Okay. I mean, it makes sense.
And-
Why would
Yeah.
it not favor the people playing it? Right.
So having to decide what the players can and can't be, what do they have and not have access to, it's a tough decision. So if you just totally
Sure.
never said any of this to the players, and you said you're allowed to build your character out of normal D&D stuff, you never, the dungeon master doesn't have to tell the players what content they're using to build their stuff. And now that 5e is a system
Good.
and not a
Good.
Wizards of the Coast product, you have access to so much stuff. It's crazy. Like,
But is that kind of is it like too much?
I don't think so, because as a
Okay.
dungeon master, I want to be able to just reach out and grab anything I need. And now that there's so many options, I can
just
get
know
what
if
I
there's
want.
too many options where you're like, I would rather it's
For
you
some
know,
people, it probably might be. And I
Yeah.
think in that case, you could just fall back on. But what's interesting is Wizards of the Coast is even embracing this, like even just this week. So they have a competitor to D&D. Kobold Press is releasing Tales of the Valiant. It's a whole new game based on the D25E system.
Okay.
But also, Kobold Press has a 5e monster manual called Tome of Beasts. I have a physical copy of
You
it.
have to say it like that.
It's a cool book. They are releasing that on D&D Beyond. So WotC's Wizards of the Coast's like online D&D product where you like go and you build a character and stuff like that, and you can run campaigns in there. It's kind of like Roll20, Ken. They had put a third-party monster book in there.
Yeah.
So
good.
even they're saying this is a platform, not our like little tiny thing that
Yeah.
we protect.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I feel
It's
like
that
that's
is
a lot
cool.
better.
it's really cool that they're like, yes, we want everybody to make everything for this game system that everybody loves. And
Well,
I
I
say
think-
everybody loves hyperbolically. There's a lot of people that don't like 5e, but there's a lot of people that do.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I think that's a growth. I mean, you're not going to do anything but get more players that way. And maybe it's coincidence, maybe it's intentional, but like they made a really good D&D movie recently, and I'm fairly certain you can make a lot more money in movies than you can in tabletop
Well,
RPGs.
and Hasbro knows
to be
that, right?
Not to be a cynic, but yeah, Hasbro is, probably under like GE Appliances, which is a sub company of Lockheed Martin Missile Division, right? The way companies are structured
Yeah.
these days, it's just
Right.
how do we make more money all the time?
Every
But
fucking time I open a beer on stream, it foams
What is
everywhere.
wrong with you?
Into
Sorry.
your computer, right?
Why?
Um,
Why does this always happen?
Well, that's
Ah.
good. I mean, I love the sound of that because I think Dungeons and Dragons is hard to penetrate.
It's
both
very
because-
obtuse from the outside. It's almost like mysterious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's exactly right. And I'll throw myself on the spear here. I don't know if the hardcore D&D fan base is particularly approachable either, right? So,
Yeah, it's kind of like a club that you're like, I don't know.
and I
If
get you
I
want
didn't-
exclusivity and you want that feeling of this is my special little. Nobody knows I play D&D in
It's
this
always
party.
scary though to go into something like that where you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, and like,
Yeah. But I think it's cool that it's growing, and it particularly interesting to hear them have a third-party product on their storefront. But it's like, yeah, man, the game's growing. Let it happen.
Right, because the whole thing is them saying like, okay, we don't want to have to pay for development of all this stuff, and if we just let other
Sure.
people do it,
I mean, why
then
not?
it only helps our system grow. And if we offer those things purchasable within our store, that's only going to keep people here. Now they
Right.
have no incentive to leave. Not only are
Right.
you in the official D&D environment, but all the third-party stuff
Oh,
that
you
you
can-
like is also here. And now you have no reason to go
Yeah.
elsewhere.
Why wouldn't you do
Right.
that?
You have no reason to go make a Roll20 account. You have no reason to go buy these things on PDF. Why not just stay here in our little
Just
house
stay
and we'll
here.
feed
Yep.
you all the stuff and we'll get our
Yeah.
little slice of the pie, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, good
the
for them.
only like specific thing that explaining that as a dungeon master, then what's cool about it is Wizards of the Coast offers 2 monster manuals. The one that came out in 2014, which is kind of based on a very different philosophy of how you run monsters and how you run the game. They're all very simple, but a lot of them use the spell system, which is a completely separate game mechanism that a dungeon master does not want to have to mess with while they're trying to run monsters. I don't want to have to go look up how spells work while I'm trying to run a hag.
True.
So they have slightly
True,
changed. They have a
true.
second monster manual that gradually shifts away from that. That has a lot of the monsters that they released in all their adventures they released in the 10 years since then, or whenever Monsters of the Multiverse came out. That's
Okay.
fine. Those are their products. But then like you can go to other places and you have MCDM, who they really like the tactical wargaming side of it, and you bring in a ton of monsters that have a lot of complexity, but a lot of thematic complexity, right? Like this thing has all these abilities, and it has, like, if you're a red dragon, then if you're an ancient red dragon, then even coming near it should like light you on fire. And you can't even have fire resistance to an ancient red dragon's fire. Like they are made of flame. There's nothing you can do to protect against it. So if you want this sort of like complex strategy, tactical side, you have their book, which is called Flee Mortals. And it has this cool companion book of boss fights called Where Evil Lives. It's like so
Names of
cool.
these.
It's so
like
cool
it.
that
I'm
you have
in.
all these other options. And then on the complete other side of that, you have books like, now that 5e's been out for 10 years, you have Forge of Foes, which is a book with no monsters in it, but it has tables on how the monsters are designed. So if you have a CR5 monster, what is its damage per round? How many attacks does it do? How much health should it have? And then you have this big list of abilities. So you can be like, oh, they attacked this random whatever that they weren't supposed to fight. Well, I guess he's CR6, so he should have these stats right now. I could just pull it from a table, right? None of that exists in the like
That's
Wizards
crazy.
of the
to me.
Coast products. Is there's a table, and then there's
That is
tables for
nice, I
like,
feel like.
yeah, if there's tables for like, if you want to have a boss fight for level 5 characters, you have 4 level 5 characters. What should they fight? Like what challenge rating? There's a whole table
That is pretty
if you want to have a
Why
boss
is that?
in 3.
Yeah, that's
To me,
crazy.
that
That
seems
that
like it should be standard,
yeah,
right?
that you
Like-
wouldn't have. Okay, what if my character or my players are off the rails? They find the dragon on week 2, right? Okay, well, what does a level 1 dragon look like? So at least I have some stats to figure out. Well, I don't want them to kill it, right?
It's a
Because
baby dragon.
it's
Yeah.
relevant for later. But how do I, if I know the stats, maybe I can cook up some sort of scheme to get the dragon to fly away, right? Some sort of
Right.
That's
and you
crazy.
don't have to
Huh.
you don't have to take the dragon stat block and guess what it would be at a different level. You go the other way
Right.
around. You
That's what I'm
grab
saying.
the stat
Yeah.
block for the level you want it to be, and then maybe you add some dragon flavor. And it can
Right.
fly and it can breathe a little fire.
like that.
Right.
Right,
And it
but you know-
escapes without what's it called, a reaction attack, right? All these sorts of
Yeah.
things that because I need the dragon to leave, but I want these players
Right.
to
It's
be
gonna
able to
fly
fight
away.
it a little bit, right?
That's the thing. If you fight a dragon outside, you're never
It's
gonna win
gone.
because it's always going to leave. The only way to kill
Yeah.
a dragon is to fight it in its lair.
Oh,
Right? Because
well,
otherwise the dragon just leaves. Why would it
I
stay
mean,
there if
yeah.
it's about to die?
And what if it's super
Yeah.
pissed?
It can fly faster than any of you guys can, so
But
it's
what
just
if
gonna
angry?
go.
This is why I don't play.
you say that to my
already annoyed.
face.
I'm already
Yeah.
like, why wouldn't it just like? I'm done. I can't.
So my point is, like, you can add all this stuff in, all these other monster manuals. You want complex monsters with villain parties and all that kind of stuff, go get the MCDM book. If you want just basic stats on how to build a monster on the fly and how to build a
Yeah.
boss fight, you go buy the Forge of Foes book from Sly Flourish. And
Yeah.
the fact that and the players would never know that you have expanded what 5e is because they still
Right.
are running a rogue from the player's handbook with a rogue subclass from the player's handbook,
Right.
right? And I just think that that's
Rogue,
cool.
rogue. Yeah.
I
Rogue.
think
I
just
mean-
think that's cool that it's bigger than one company.
I think that's wonderful. And I think the fact that there's now a solution to a problem that probably never should have existed in terms of like power scaling and finding these sort of stat blocks or whatever they are. You tickled the back of my work brain in terms of like, wait a minute. So 5e has been around for 10 years.
Mhm.
It's now open source or
Mhm.
common, whatever phrase you use.
Essentially open source, right?
It's the same thing for copyright reasons. So it's been around 10 years. It's open source. They just released the most popular D&D video game, quite possibly ever,
Right.
in Baldur's Gate. And they also had a $200 $200 million movie
Yeah.
2 years ago or something like that.
That movie was great, by
That
the
movie
way.
was good.
And it's super good. I highly recommend it. I'm just wondering, like, man, who took charge
Right?
about,
Whoever did, they're like,
8 years ago
yeah.
is now able to say, look at this. I'm
Yeah, they're like,
cashing
told
in.
ya. Like,
Time for my
Right.
promotion,
yeah,
right?
exactly. That's very true.
So it's just interesting. It's cool.
So that was as much as I will allow
That's your rant.
myself to talk about D&D. So that was my
That was good. That was good.
that was my number one. That was my first topic for
Okay.
tonight.
Ken, you're up, baby.
What's my list say? What is my dog's name? That's the only thing I
Whiz.
have.
Like, just listen.
Well,
Very
I'll
Why
keep
does it
it
only say cheese whiz in here three
I know,
times?
yeah. Cheese whiz, cheese whiz. What about
there's,
red?
like,
What was
one-
the thing that you red leather, yellow leather that you're supposed to try to say to?
Red, yellow, leather.
Red leather, yellow leather.
But if
Say
you
that.
try to
Red
say it
leather,
really
yellow
fast,
leather.
it's so hard.
Red leather, yellow.
leather.
The harder you try to say it fast, the slower you get.
Red leather, yellow leather. Red, yellow.
Red leather, yellow leather.
I can't.
Red,
You can say
yellow,
it once, but
red
I can never
leather.
say it twice. Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow
Red
leather.
leather. Yeah, I'm slowing down.
It's the
Um,
thing that I'm like, I can't say the word leather. Like, I'm just struggling with that.
Leather. I don't think I can say the letter L. I'm going to
Leather.
piggyback off yours, Ben. We're going to spend a couple more minutes on D&D
Good.
because
Yes, let's.
I've had a fantastic time after what I'm going to call a shaky start, a long but troubled start to D&D, just in terms of my commitment level. Had nothing to do with you as DM or the other players or anything like that. I was
The
just
DM
it's just like, it's Sunday night, Roll20's fine. What I want to do is play D&D with my friends at a table, but we finally
boy.
have it finally sort of feels like we're greasing the groove on our online exclusive D&D game. And over the past couple weeks, me and one other player got to play like 6 or 7 hours of
you guys got a
D&D
ton, right?
just against Ben. Not against Ben, but with him playing,
It's against
DMing.
Ben.
And this is nothing but praise for you in terms of handling our sometimes overly ambitious movements, right? We do things that, will get us killed, but you handle it deftly. And then other times we have moments or whole games where it's like, well, I don't know, what do we do? Where do we go? Should we go to, and then you're able to lay in very, helpfully, you go through sort of objectives for us, right? And you're able to emphasize them in a certain way that I'm like, oh, I know Ben well enough to know that's the one he wants us to do tonight. I can tell his tone. He's got the materials right in front of him.
We have we play only every other week, and we also
Just
have
slow,
a pretty strong rule that we always play. So it doesn't matter how many people show up, and so people are allowed to drop in, drop out.
yeah.
And why people disappear and reappear is maybe something that we'll be able to figure out later.
Maybe.
But for now,
So
I
how
don't
many
know.
people
But
were there? There's
there's 5
We had
players.
5. But I think
But-
it's worth mentioning.
So
It took us a long time to get to, we're going to play every 2 weeks. Really, no
Yeah.
questions asked, right?
That's true. Yeah,
It took
yeah.
it took several months and maybe a 6-week period of like a lot of people in and out. Myself certainly am guilty of it, but like it was very inconsistent until it became, well, we're going to play no matter how many people show up. And so I think when Ryan and I played the other week, I was like, are we going to have anything to do? But it turned out to be like this crazy thing that I have to assume you didn't plan, right? There's no folder that says
guys.
Ryan and Ken show up. duo buddy
I
adventure
don't think
takes
you
7
understand
hours.
Ben,
Minimum
Right.
7 hours.
Ryan and Ken show up. They go investigate the Vault of Dragons, which
They
I
walk
had
directly
no idea
towards
that you were going
the
to do that.
end
Then
game
get banished to the
objective.
Feywild.
sorry.
Right. So it's just we went and we did something way over our heads. We found incredible success doing it, which is probably the most unpredictable part of it.
Unbelievably.
And then, you throw us into this other realm where we also surprisingly are well equipped to handle it for the most part.
The weird thing was we all got to find out what happened to the back deck at Club Aqua.
Yeah, thank God. And we've been able to.
I actually want to go to Haunted House more than I want to go to Aqua. So,
I just
is
rewatched
there a
that whole
haunted
skit.
house in your game yet?
Not
I
yet.
think
Are you almost a
base
haunted
of
house?
no, our base of operations is haunted house.
That's true. It
Oh,
is
man.
haunted house.
Is there a trap door?
There's
That's the
ghosts
question.
in our base
They
that
haven't
like
found
keep
the
it
trap door
clean.
yet. Shh, shh. They haven't
Yeah,
found
you
it
guys
yet.
should be looking for the trap door.
No. I mean, I very much appreciate the kind words. The thing I think that really for me feels like this game has kicked off is you guys. It was a bit of, hey, we'll have this little fun adventure and we have these little side missions, but you guys are kind of like, well, what are we doing? Like we're in this great
Right.
big city.
Right.
What are we doing here? And then finally stuff started like kicking off and you guys have been like totally taking control. The players have been taking control of like what's happening. And then that's the best as the dungeon master just to be like, I don't know what's going to happen. Right? I don't know.
Right,
Every time we go to
right.
play, I get to find out what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It's been awesome though. I roll 20 is good. I'm sure we've talked about it before. There's a lot of room for improvement on roll 20.
Yeah.
Um
Anything specific that drives you nuts, or
pulling up information on well, I think that maybe the problem with roll 20 is that the stat sheet and the player profile and all these sort of abilities and modifiers and things is that a 5e sheet that it's written on, Ben?
Yeah.
Okay. The 5e sheet needs work then. It needs a little more.
I think even on the table, the UI
It's always-
of 5th
it's just-
edition is not good.
okay?
Yeah. I think it's hard to find the information that you need, even in a digital
Yeah.
format where I can keyword search or whatever it is. User interface needs work, but
Well, this
if
is
that's how it is on the table,
a little
then
tiny side
it needs
note.
work there too.
You have it like 5e's 10 years old, right? A new game that's coming out, Daggerheart from Darrington Press, the people behind Critical Role. They have a game coming out, and your player abilities come on cards, right? So it's not looking it up in a book,
Right.
trying to fit it on some sort of character
Oh my
sheet or whatever.
gosh! If I had a deck of, and it would be microscopic, right? It would be like 4 cards right now at what are we, level 5?
But it's like when you level up,
there they are.
you're because of your class and subclass, you have access to certain decks of cards, and then
Right.
when you level up, you get to pull a new card out of that deck. So you
Pull
look at the
that little-
deck and you're
yep.
like, oh, I want this one, and you take that card and you put it down on the table in front of you, and now you know exactly what your ability is.
I
And
tell you what, you just cooked up the homebrew multi-million-dollar D&D. Here it is. Here are the cards, class cards, whatever. Print them.
and
ship
D&D,
'em, that's
like
it.
you can go and buy cards
Can you?
for spells and stuff like that. But it's not quite the same. Like your character and subclass, your class and subclass abilities are never like on cards the way that like Daggerheart
Sure.
is,
Yeah.
right? And so when you're digging through your sheet and you have that huge list of features over on the right side, and they're like
Yeah.
you're trying to read what they do. If you don't have the book, it's like man, I don't
Well,
know.
and in roll 20, it's as simple as formatting. They're just not spaced in a way that makes it easy to read.
I know,
It's
and
just
it's
a
formatted
wall
like the physical
text.
character sheet is, right?
And there's
That's
no
the-
reason to do it that way.
They should have built a web interface that like somebody decided to make be more easy
Yeah.
to use than the physical
Yeah.
character sheets are. However, I will say the nice thing about the Roll 25e character sheet is that you can print it and it prints
Yeah.
out nice, and it looks just like a normal character sheet.
But I mean, here it is. Here's mine.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You have your ability modifiers in huge numbers over on the left side, right? This-
but then I
Emily
get
left, and we've
Okay,
gone off the
kids.
rails.
then it becomes
That page is
hold on.
useless. You don't have any
Let me get my
spells,
list.
so that
Useless?
page is no good.
Cantrips, nothing.
That's
This
nothing.
this is my
Ken
favorite.
plays
I
a
think.
rogue, by the way, if anybody's curious. That's
It
the
becomes
important one.
This
much.
look at this.
Look at your soul knife ability. Look at that.
My camera.
Like comment number 1. Rake this up. This
That
is
is true. That's a hot list
Hit
right
that
there.
paragraph of text.
Like right away, if someone's like, "This is you," I'd be like, "I'm out."
so
out.
it's not perfect.
I need like bullet points for that shit.
Oh, I do have spells. Anyway, I think what I need more than anything is oh my gosh, excuse me, this is it.
Here we go. While Ken tries to recover, I think that like I'd love to hear that you're having a good time, because always the Dungeon
It's fine.
Master's
I almost
motto
spit my wine out when you.
is,
What I
I have
Dungeon-
fun if you
sorry.
have fun.
Oh, what I need is I need keywords. AC, DC. This may come as a shock to D&D players, but when someone says roll 5d6, that's not always totally apparent what that means, right?
That is true. You need like you need the little card that gives you the hints that shit.
I think
Yeah, I need the
Essentially.
flashcards.
I
Yeah.
think a good way to summarize what you're saying is it's very difficult to learn the rules of the game over the digital interface.
Yes, thank you. It took me 30 minutes of speaking for you to tell me what I was trying to
This is
say.
his
Thank
topic.
If
you.
we were
We
playing at
finally
a
got to
table,
it.
if we
Number
were
one.
playing at the
You-
table, you
Sure.
would know after 2 sessions exactly
you know?
how to play.
I don't know.
Yeah,
if I
you
would.
would.
I don't know about that.
Well,
I think it's more just like in my case, like if I were to play, let's say I'm not. If I were to play,
gosh, you would be so. What?
No,
Okay,
no,
hold on.
no,
I need
no,
another.
no,
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 wait.
no.
This
Let me
isn't.
finish
no,
before
no.
I forget. Before I forget.
All right, then I need to
I'm
ask
just
Ken a
gonna say,
question.
So the one thing I always hate is people just expecting you to know things, just in
Yeah.
general, in life, in whatever situation, just being like, "Oh, this is here," and you're like, "I don't know what the fuck you're talking about." So
What's
if
your AC
someone-
modifier?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're like, I don't. So be nice to whoever is starting to play and be like, let me explain things to you. Even if you explain it to me like I'm dumb, I would rather you do that than you just assume I know something, and then I
Yep.
have to sit there and feel
I
like
agree.
a flippin' idiot.
The worst thing you can ever do when you're playing a game with somebody is make them feel stupid,
Yeah, because
Yes.
I'm officially
Yeah.
like I'm out. I'm done.
because now they're not having fun,
Well, you're not
and
even
there's
thinking
no
about
way
the
that
game.
you should be able
You're
to
just
have
thinking
fun
about,
if
like,
you have
yeah.
ruined somebody else's fun.
Yeah, no.
Totally
So-
agree. Totally agree.
That's all. I just want to be like in any situation, but especially this, if it was like a new game and I'm like, I'm going to try it, and someone's like assuming I know crap, I feel like after one session, I'd be like, I'm out. This was not fun. I was just
Yeah,
stressed.
you're Midwest, so you'll hang around for the rest of the game. But then
And then I will take my potluck and I
That's
will
it.
leave that
Yeah.
house. Is
Yeah.
what we're,
My-
yeah.
my what kind of potluck do they make
I was
out
going to
here?
say marshmallow jello scenario.
Tater tot casserole
Yeah.
with anyway. So D&D has been awesome. It took forever for me to find I think what I like about it, but also that had to be a big part of that was the group coming together, the sort of storyline that we were on feels like it's tapering in on something. I could be wrong, but we're all at least sort of united in what we want to do ultimately. So it's been awesome. I like it. Play
Cool.
D&D.
Excellent.
Nice.
That's my tip.
I have a question for you, Ken, because 3 other people have said the same thing. I don't necessarily think Emily should be encouraged or forced to play Dungeons and Dragons, but I will never deny the fact that I think she would be a very fun person to play the game with. Would you agree?
100%. You can't. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, right? Emily, you're the horse. Great analogy choice.
Pick up on that. Don't feel
right.
stupid. He was talking about you.
Yeah,
But,
thank you for explaining it to me, just in case.
You're the horse. No. Uh, poor analogy choice on my part. But yeah, I mean, if she doesn't want to play,
Then it won't be fun because it takes
asking her to play is like the worst thing you can do, right? Or forcing it, you know.
I think there are some people out there who maybe like it's a magical spark the first time they play, but I would say in general, tabletop RPGs are not very fun at first. They're confusing.
They're hard.
There's a lot of pressure on you to
Okay.
like not
Is this
feel like
you
a
trying
dummy.
to get me to play? Like,
No,
this
well,
is the
absolutely no.
opposite.
I already know that you don't want to play, and I'm saying that if we said, "Why don't we try a session?" you would come out of that session and be
I
like,
would
"That
hate
wasn't
it
fun at
even
all."
more. Yeah.
That wasn't fun at all. You would need a good, solid, like you would need to play it for a long time before it finally clicked,
Yeah.
and then you would have a wonderful time. But I don't
Yeah.
think
I don't think it
I
would.
don't think anybody should ever force you to get over that hump.
Yeah.
Says the
Oh,
guy
totally.
who like constantly is trying to get.
Oh, I just
Anyway,
always
if you
remind
want to
you.
ever get over that hump,
Yeah.
just tell me. I think you've got to. You guys are knowing you very closely and personally. You've got a couple additional details, right? Her jumping into a game with any of the guys that I know in Midland are tough because they're all engineer mindset, laser
We would be
focused,
total opposite.
and
I
99%
think that's
of
why
them
I want to play
are
with her.
No, it
maybe.
would be.
I mean, let me get to that. Because that's where I'm coming to that. So, and 99% of those guys are D&D vets. So it's
Yeah.
sort of double stacked against her in terms of, um, I think she'd do very well starting with a new group, but I have to imagine that takes forever for people to get their bearings. If you
That's
had a
true.
brand new group of players, I think it would just be a very long, drawn out process of getting the ball rolling, so to speak. On the other hand, Emily, you would absolutely destroy the role playing. You would outsmart half of these engineering nerds and they wouldn't know what happened because they're so worried about doing this one specific
Yes.
thing. Like,
That's. I
you
guarantee
would
that I could be good at
excel
making
in this
up shit.
game. Yeah.
Problem is, if there's no like, here are the rules, here's a set ending. In my mind, I'm like, then why am I doing this?
Okay.
And that is the problem. So if someone's like, but you can make up whatever you want. I don't want to make up whatever I want. I want
Mm.
I want a game with rules and regulate, like,
Sure,
so
that's
what
fair.
am I doing? It's kind of like, for just, this isn't quite the same, but like, you know, the Lego video games where it's like, oh, you
Yeah.
can kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I fucking hated those.
Yeah, I
Hate
don't.
them so much because I'm like, there's no point. What is the point of them doing this? You just, if you fuck up, you just like pop back up. What is the point? And so
Okay.
it's
Gosh.
that thing where then it's like, no, you can make up and have fun. I don't want to make up and have fun. If there's no A, B, and C rule, why am I fucking doing this? That is my problem.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna try to
You're
not
gonna
because
just-
no,
Yeah, I
not
know.
because you said it wrong or anything like that. Because I had the same concerns when I started, and most of the people who play a lot of D&D try to explain that in a bad way about how that's great.
Yeah, let's hear it
And
from
I
a
think-
non-D&D person, essentially.
Well,
you know.
no, one of the people we play with said it to me in a way that finally sort of clicked in terms of like, yes, you can do whatever you want in D&D, but you're not always starting from the base and then we go find something to do,
Yeah.
right? It's not totally open world, I suppose. It could be if you wanted it to be. But if you've got a decent DM like Ben, who is going to notice when people are if the party consensus is we're going to go off on this crazy tangent, a good DM will allow them to do it. However, if you've got 5 players,
If you want to go
and
to
there's
Club Aqua,
right, and there's one character
wants to go to
who
haunted
wants to go to
house.
haunted house, but everybody else wants to go to Club Aqua, the DM will allow that person to go to haunted house
Why
and
do I
get
want to go to
killed.
haunted house? Who cares?
Because you actually wanted to go to haunted house more than you wanted to go to Aqua.
Right.
I
You walked
into
right
that
into
one.
that. Yeah. No, I just, I see. I'm not explaining it as well as the person who told it to me.
I
It's just,
totally get what you mean.
I think what you have to do is creating the rules that you want based on role playing, right?
I think it's
You can do whatever you want, but if your character is a lawful, law-abiding
But why do I care if I just fucking
saint,
die? I don't care.
well, I don't know.
See,
Listen, I got
that's
nothing
what
left. You beat me. I don't know.
You win.
But this is why when
I'm
everyone
very
though is
tired,
like,
and I cannot convince
but
you.
when everyone is like, no, I feel like if they were like, well, you died, I'd be like, okay, and I don't.
So-
if I don't care that much, then why am I playing?
But
If
that's
I don't
also
care
that could
what
be
my
a character.
But if I don't like,
Okay. I mean,
I just feel I don't
listen,
know.
I think
I don't think
maybe
it'd be fun.
prey on should I be a dragonborn cleric who has perhaps pushed themselves
Also,
too far in
Everyone
righteousness.
would hate me.
Yeah,
Everyone
that's
would hate me in
okay.
any.
Most people within a D&D
But I'm not
party
doing it
hate
for
the
fun.
other
The rest of the
I
party.
would do it because I don't care.
Right. You right. Well, okay, let's speaking of something that you do care a lot about, Emily, what is
Yes.
your first topic of discussion?
Well, speaking of
For this
haunted
pod.
house,
Yes.
my topic is I love the I Think You Should Leave show, which is on Netflix. Now, to tell you the truth, only today have we actually watched the show. Okay? But everyone should, if you're on Instagram, should follow the fan. It's a fan account, which I kind of can't believe.
Really?
That's
That's a
it's a
fan account?
Yeah.
Is it?
So it's
Go
I
ahead.
Think You Should Reel.
I thought it was
Yep,
official.
I
it's a
thought it
fan
was too.
account. Yeah.
And essentially it's clips of the show, but the clips are done so perfectly in like the
Oh.
right sections that
It's edited like
It's
better
great.
than the show could do it, I think.
I
It's
almost
crazy.
enjoy it better because I would I don't know if I'd rather, but like watching
Yeah.
like a 2-minute clip compared to like a 6-minute skit.
Sure.
Sometimes I just want to like scroll and be like, man, this is good for 1 minute, and then it like goes by. But that
Mhm.
is, if you're having a bad day, just go to I Think You Should Reel, watch a couple of those.
REEL.
Yes. And
Um,
they are fantastic.
maybe it's a testament to how well or how dense with jokes that show is that you can
yeah.
take 90-second slices.
That's true.
And yes, the insanity is off the charts pretty much at all times. But as long as you're okay with that, you can pick up a 90-second clip from
Yeah.
a 6-minute skit and be like, this is hysterical and I don't know what's happening.
Right, and you can
Exactly.
grab it from
You don't-
anywhere in
yes.
any of the skits.
And
It's
that's
Right.
the
crazy.
thing. So yeah, if the skit is 6 minutes, it's honestly, you could have so many videos and I still get it. I still love it. It's still hilarious.
Still funny.
But it's
Yep.
like you said, it's 90 seconds or whatever. But
Yeah.
they're so good. So obviously we've talked about Club Aqua and Haunted House. That's one of the skits.
I actually want to go to Haunted House more than I want to go to Aqua.
I actually want to go. I love that one. But the other one that we like really loved at first was the Driving Crooner.
Oh, yeah.
So I actually bought Ben a shirt for Christmas with the Driving Crooner on it doing this. So one of the things I just want to mention. So if you haven't seen it, it's like a guy who has decals on his car and he like pretends to do things at a stoplight with the decals kind of thing. But they actually sell the decals on like Amazon and shit. And my favorite thing is on the reviews. Every single person on the reviews just says like lines from
A line from the
clip
show,
where he's
yeah.
like, someone tried to steal
You're trying to make it look
I can't
fake.
believe yeah. And it's like everyone knew we have to be a part of this. Where everyone's like, all these frat guys tried to
And
steal
he hits
it.
the gas, right? He floors away.
And I just love that if you buy the decals, everyone's like, someone tried to kill me over it. And you're like, it's straight from like everyone
It's just
knew.
from the show.
And it's
yeah.
so great. And I just love, so I don't know. They're so funny though. So go check it out if you haven't seen
It's
it.
an excellent show. I'm going to,
Yes, it is a good show.
just to give it a little bit of Foundation, I think it's a multiple Emmy winning short show
Yeah.
now.
Because I think
After,
he's
like,
won a few times, right?
2 or 3 seasons, and then
Yeah.
he was on SNL very briefly, from what I understand.
Oh, okay.
And there's a few funny skits. There's a skit where he makes up the NBA theme song.
Okay.
Ba 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 bo 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 bo. But it's pitched as a very lyrics forward song, and he sings during the NBA theme
This is
song.
what I love. They're always so dumb, but
It's like
so great.
insane. And
They're so
here
great.
he's in this meeting, and they're like, "We love the instrumental. We're prepared to offer you,
Yeah.
millions of dollars for the rest of your life." And he walks away from the deal because he wants to sing on the basketball.
See,
It's just-
it is. They're so good, and they're just dumb enough, if you want to say it
They're
that
just
way.
dumb enough.
Right.
That
Dumb
you are
enough,
like,
yeah.
it's funny, but it's just like, it just makes
Whatever.
you smile, and that's it.
It's so
Just go
like
with it.
it's
Don't overthink it. It is just a funny
Yeah.
thing. and
exactly.
that's
It's
it.
really hard to like tell somebody go watch this because they're
So
so
good, though.
they're so
So
dumb
good.
funny
They're
that
very
somebody might
stupid.
totally be like,
But
What
like,
is this?
if you watched a couple,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden you're like,
yeah, like
this is very
wait a
good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
like,
Try
this is
just
insane.
just go look up
Just go-
3
yeah.
skits, or even a slice of a skit,
Yeah.
and you'll get an immediate temperature in terms of like, well, this is nothing and everything all at once, right? It's
so-
just dumb.
I just love it. Like
Good.
the driving
It's
crooner
very-
one doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense if you think about it. But
Doesn't
then it's
have
also
to,
like,
yeah.
bet you didn't know you're driving with the driving crooner, baby. And it's just us for
It's like
weeks
says
going baby all around.
thedrivingcrooner.com on the side of his car.
I love it so much. Anyway, check that out. I think you
Yeah.
should reel on
Yeah.
Instagram.
All right. Emily and I stepped away for a moment to I'm assuming I took a bathroom break. Ken, do you need to step away for a moment?
Yeah, let me bring the camera. Hold
All right. Take it with you. I think
We are live and
we'll
Ken's
take this
bathroom.
moment.
on.
Yeah. Let's cut in
Gross.
to our topics for a second and let's jump into some listener
Ooh,
questions.
questions? Well,
Do we
Ken-
have any
Well,
that
here, I'll be right
Ken
back.
could step away for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ben,
What do we got? Ben, this
how
is
much?
specifically to
This
me.
for you.
Okay.
How much do you love your new 3D printer?
How much do I love my new 3D printer? So I got a Elegoo Mars 4 Max, and I love it so much. It's
I'm
really
pretty sure I'm developing cancer from it, but Ben
it
loves
is
it.
worth it.
So when I die early, it is Ben's fault.
I got a resin 3D printer, and guess what? You can print a lot of minis that don't even look like they're printed,
Yeah.
and for a lot less money than you can buy them already having
Okay.
been printed or cast or whatever.
So as someone who legit does not care about minis in any possible
Sure.
way, they do look fantastic. They do not look printed. I would never think that we printed this in
bet,
our
yes.
like gross basement.
Look at this guy.
Yeah, like look at this.
He's printed.
They
This
do look
fella.
really good, and they're not like brittle. Like they're awesome. So I will admit it's pretty cool. Just at first, it was like, "Don't come in. I got a gas mask in,"
Right.
and I'm like
I'm
in there
fully
walking
masked
around.
up, gloves,
I'm
right?
like, "Hey, guess what?" So
I
I don't
mean,
know. Other
yeah.
than the cancer thing, it's cool.
You're not supposed to breathe in the resin, and then you got to wash everything in isopropyl alcohol, which can give you a headache. So, I honestly,
that,
I
it's
think,
cool.
I honestly think the mask is more for the alcohol than it is for the resin. But you're still not supposed to breathe the resin in. But
I mean, yeah.
I
but-
do love it. I do love it. It's really nice to be able to be like, oh, I want to have this mini or a mini that looks like this for something, and then I can just have it. And it costs, it's negligible. It's just a couple of dollars worth of resin.
Joe
it's
said
not,
it's worth it. If it takes a couple years off, it's not a big deal. Okay, but let's say someone bought it, or someone wants to buy a 3D printer. What are the things that at first you notice that are like tricky or weird, or you know what I mean?
All right. Well, you have to source the STL files from somewhere, and preferably
Okay.
you get pre-supported ones. So you have to figure out where to buy them. There's websites
like
like
I'm
My
out.
Mini Factory and Thingiverse, stuff like that. there's a couple of Patreons I like where you give them $10 a month, and then every month you get a big old batch of like really high quality, professionally sculpted and professionally supported minis. They always print perfect. You also have to dial in your printer depending on like where you have it, like what's the temperature there and what resin you're using. You have to change how thick is the base layers to make it stick to the base plate. How long is the exposure time of the base
I know
layers?
there were a few times at first you had to keep.
I had lots and lots and lots of failures.
So like it's not if you fail a lot at first, it's like that's
actually
normal.
I think some of those early failures did some damage to the film at the bottom of my resin thing, and then that actually finally ripped. So resin leaked through the bottom onto the LCD screen, and then that LCD screen hardened that resin onto it. So I have to replace that, and I mean that. I think that's just part of it. It's not like set it and forget it, but you can make amazing stuff with it, and it's awesome. It's awesome as somebody who paints
cool.
and who wants random minis for all kinds of stuff. It's a blast.
Random minis. Wait, Ben, do you have a number 2?
Are there any other questions?
Well, I mean, there are.
Well, let's set these questions up.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I like
sorry. Jeez.
Please, let me get comfortable.
Highlights from LAN. You guys had the LAN the other
Good question.
2 weeks? 2 weeks?
2
ago?
weeks? 3 weeks? 2 weeks?
2, 3? Something like that. We had the annual local.
Seth Cruz Invitational. I've got my.
When I went to the house, it said no girls allowed, but some of the letters were backwards.
It did
got my
say that.
swag.
Actually. Yeah, look at that. Got his swag.
LAN.
I like the design on that. Is
I'm
it backwards?
assuming
Is
Seth
it
drew
mirrored?
that himself. No, it looks it's the right way for us.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I believe so. Yeah. No, it was awesome. It's good as always. Good to see the boys.
What was
Make
the
sure
best
they're all
game there
real.
that you guys played? What was your favorite game, I guess?
Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered, maybe?
Yeah, which was a surprise.
That was a hot.
When did
one.
that game come out? Remaster came out 5 years ago.
Something like that. The
And
original.
the original
was,
1998, maybe something like
it's
that.
like very
Shit.
old. Yeah.
Very old. And it's just a super
Wow.
simple. I think my highlight of LAN was that we played a lot of super simple, funny, gamey games where we're not tactically thinking about how I'm going to kill this person 45 minutes from now and when I'm going to need to do it. And there's nothing wrong with those games. I like that sort of game, but there was a lot of more whooping and hollering at this LAN, right?
That's
because
good.
we're
That sounds
playing
more fun.
fast. And I don't think it should always be that way, but between Need for Speed, we played a silly game called Splitgate. That was like a
Had a teabag mode.
yeah,
Teabag confirmed.
yeah, right.
Okay. Yeah, I think we get the feeling there then.
It was
There
again
was people
very
playing Overcooked at one point.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. How many people did you
Overcooked,
play that with?
4.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, wouldn't it
So
be
there
great
was
if
a
you
lot
played
of-
with like 15? It was
Yeah.
just a
That
fucking
would-
hot
that would
mess.
be wild.
And it was like, and everyone's
would
like,
be
Anyway.
wild.
man, that'd be great.
It was super fun.
I would
yeah.
love that if it was like, we need 15 roasts, and everyone's like bumping into
Right.
each other and
I was
shit.
telling
That'd be so
everybody
good.
afterwards, I was like, hey, we got to get lead and gold.
Oh, I do like letting. Do you think the servers still work? We'd have
I
to.
have no idea. What was that World War II game that we played where you would like ride a bike to the front lines? Do you remember that game? You would spawn in and you'd have to get to the front line and all the vehicles were gone. So you'd have to like ride a bicycle and then
Like
you'd
a
hide in a
bike ride?
house. Yeah.
Yeah, we were joking about one guy was like a World War II nut, and anyway, it's a very deep cut
That's
joke.
weird.
What was that called?
I don't remember.
We'll find it.
I don't
Yeah.
remember. That
Remember
game
that.
was
That would
game
be
was
fun.
intense.
Ben, someone asked, what's up with the smoking?
Oh, I just love to smoke.
Are you? Oh, I thought you were holding.
You're the
a
driving
cigarette
crooner?
right now.
I'm just a
I
big
was like, do you
smoker.
have a giant cigarette right now?
No, fake cigarettes somehow started getting passed around at one. We did a murder mystery dinner party, and Phil was Phil showed up playing a Russian woman who was disguised as a man.
Yeah.
Or that he
That's
was
very Phil.
I think Phil was a
Yeah.
man that was disguised as a Russian woman at the murder mystery dinner party.
Right,
And
it
he
was
brought
one-
fake cigarettes and he kept smoking them.
They
And they
do
looked
look
real.
so real because
They
they
looked
have like
real.
like aluminum, you know, like so it hits the light in a way that you're like, is that lit?
And he kept
Like, it
leaning
doesn't-
over and he would ash his fake cigarette in my drink and then like take a puff. And I was like, stop doing that.
Phil.
So immediately Ben bought his own. So
Do you want to hear a story about Phil? We were playing Wavelength.
This is
And
funny, actually.
Ryan
Oh
Quinn
boy.
was talking about
go.
it was flavorful to not flavorful, and he said provolone cheese, and we all were like, provolone cheese on the regular is pretty
It's
not
on the
flavorful.
mild side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
The way cheeses
Why
go.
not?
So this last game night, Phil shows up with like cheese
Of
and
course.
crackers and stuff. Even he's like, "Oh, I forgot it wasn't my snack night. I thought it was." And he was like, "Well, it's okay. We'll just have both of the snacks." And then he's like cutting up his cheese and handing it out. And because he had been arguing in the Wavelength game that provolone cheese is in fact quite flavorful, and we all disagreed with him. And we of course
think we
got
know where this is
Quinn
going.
also
Yeah,
had thought not
Phil.
flavorful.
Come on.
Well, so we all taste his cheese that he brought, and he's like, pretty flavorful, isn't it? And he was like,
Oh.
it's provolone.
You sons of. I got you.
I got you.
Like he had a recording
I was like,
device
I'm DMing,
on.
right? So I'm like, Ty, I'm running, I'm standing up there doing some stuff, and he's like sitting next to me. He's holding up this little piece of cheese. He's like, you got to try this. I was like, sure, I'll taste it. And I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty good. And he was like, but you didn't know it was provolone, did you? And that was when the big reveal happened.
The lengths
That was it. That was the
That was insane.
trying to think.
gotcha
The other
moment.
question, highlights from Leanne, your printer.
Land was fun. I mean, it
That's-
always
yeah.
will be.
Yeah, it's always fun. No
So much
complaints.
fun.
It was very smooth. Everybody was very free flowing in what games were being played. There wasn't a lot of.
People fly
I think you can.
in.
Well, I think you can kill something like that by having too much structure. Like, oh, we're playing this game, then this game, then. Not that that's ever happened, but that's how you sort of kill fun is with a schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we didn't do that at all, which was nice.
Cool.
And there was a lot of really good tequila. I don't know
Great
if that plays
food.
into it at all. Good
I'm
food.
told it was very good tequila. I tried it and tasted like tequila.
Tequila. Yeah, I would also be like,
It
I'm
was
told it was
good.
very good.
I could not with tequila. I
Many
did not
people
get any
said,
calls
"Wow, it
this
doesn't
year."
burn," and I couldn't help but think, didn't need to say that if it didn't burn. But
I didn't get any calls from Ben saying help me, so we're good.
yeah, no,
We did
nobody.
good this
Everybody
year.
was too afraid to
Help,
get
I'm passed out.
help.
right.
And
Nobody got
and
crazy.
I love when last year when I showed up after the help, everyone was like, "Why are you here?" And I was like, "I got a message from Ben," and they're like,
He spoke to
What?
no one. Yeah.
he was hidden in a room, like hiding, and I was like, "Somebody help me find him."
That
I
was like
think
as drunk as you can be.
It was like, let's play hide and seek for Ben when I got there. So,
Yeah, I remember because anyway, it was
yeah,
fun.
But
It
no,
was
we
good.
didn't have that this year. You guys did good. You did
No,
good.
everybody-
So
Took care of themselves, which was nice.
How unfortunate.
Yeah. One of these years, I'll step in the limelight. I'll really let my light shine.
That's what I want to see. I want you to let your
No,
light
you
shine.
don't.
I
There's
can't
no
remem-
light left.
can you
It's a
remember the
void.
Little
last
light
time
of
Ken
mine.
got? I can't remember the last time that you got so drunk that you were like,
Well, we
We're
got
done.
Hezzy's wedding coming up.
I'll tell you what,
"Oh."
if you do it often enough, fast enough in your early 20s, you don't ever want to
You
do it
never
again.
have to
I guess
do it
after
again.
the
I wrote and cashed all the checks I could.
what did you get from the Jello shots? The
Pancreatitis.
after you get that, you're good.
That's it.
You're
Yeah.
good.
Your
You just
peak.
hang out.
He had
Pancreatitis
it,
was your
and we're
peak.
good.
Acute pancreatitis.
was-
Very cool.
I love how they were like, you can't drink again for the rest of your life, and it's like,
And he never has, funnily
Yeah.
enough. Right? He is stuck to that.
Yep,
All right,
man of my
here's-
word.
whew, that was a rough weekend. Okay.
My number 2 for this reunion episode.
Mhm.
I am a bad board game reviewer.
Is that
And
your
I will
number
explain
two?
to you guys why I think I
Ooh,
am.
I
And I'd
wanna
be
hear
curious
this.
to hear
Okay.
what your opinions are as well.
Okay.
So we had this podcast that originally started for two
This
reasons.
podcast
This
or
podcast
okay.
so that we could all
We
hang
have
out and
another
talk
one.
about stuff. And I thought this was a wonderful platform to talk about my number one hobby, which was board games and trying to get people to
Okay.
play them. And now finally I get a chance to talk to them and talk to you about them. And I have listened to other podcasts since then and have had a lot of experience trying to talk about games. And the thing is like, why does somebody listen to a review to determine whether they should buy something or not?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Great question.
And I always, I never rely on the game to be the entertainment for the night, and we had put in no effort, right? I always
Sure.
just like to have the
Yeah.
game
That's
be
fair.
a reason for us to use it for enjoyment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Okay.
because of that, I dislike almost no games because I'm willing to put in the work
Yeah.
I could
to make a
dislike-
game fun for
can
whatever's
see.
happening at the table.
Okay.
And that is why I'm absolutely convinced I am a bad board game reviewer because I don't ever talk negatively about games because I always will put in the work to make a game fun.
That is true.
Mm.
I would talk bad, but it'd be for reasons I feel like most people don't care about.
So you think you are a bad reviewer because you have a different opinion than the most of the people that would listen
Yeah,
to the
I
show?
feel like my opinion is just anxiety most of the time.
Sure.
And how does that
It's a
anxiety
social game.
manifest itself?
So
Wait, what'd you say?
How does the anxiety manifest itself? Are you afraid to look stupid in front of people?
I'm afraid of everything in life. Like we could just say everything. Yeah, you could say looking stupid, forgetting something, not knowing, just not getting something right. Like just everything. Like I'm a hot mess most time. So if someone's like, let's learn a new game, that is like my worst nightmare usually. As soon as it's like, let's learn a new game, I want to be like, I'm gonna go die quick.
what if we had more
And then-
rules? What if we just like made more rules?
When everyone's like, okay, do you guys get this?
Arbitrary
Yeah.
requirements and
And I wanna be
expectations.
like, everyone's like, okay, you guys understand this? And everyone's like, yep. And I want to be like, mm-hmm. And you can obviously it's me just being like, let's just fucking get through this so I can
Yeah.
be done at this point. But because of that, half the time I'm not even thinking about the game. I am just thinking about trying to get through a situation.
Gotcha.
But that is my life in general. That is also if someone was talking to me, it's me going, it's the same thing. I said this to you the other day, Ben, where it's like you don't like looking at someone's eyes. And Ben was like, I've never had that situation.
I don't think you were saying this to me. Were you saying this to somebody else?
No, I said this. Well, it was after we had drank a lot one night. So maybe you don't remember.
I don't drink anymore since Ken got acute pancreatitis.
Right.
that was
in
in college,
2001
so- yeah.
or whatever it was. No, I was like 13 in
2006.
2001.
Wait, 2006, 2007.
6,
But-
7, yeah.
I was like, I feel like more if someone's talking to me, I'm just more like, where do I look? What are they saying? What should I do? What should be my facial expression? And in that case, then you go, what the fuck did they just say? I don't know what the
Right.
fuck they just said.
Here's
so
your
at that
problem.
point, I am catching up. I am in a panic attack at all times. But nobody
I've been
realizes
thinking about
that.
this a lot. Here's your problem. Yeah, I'm serious. Your problem is you're listening to what they're saying as an active listener instead of planning some sort of snarky remark or move that you're going to make
I
next
would love
and
to
just
have that as
ignoring what they said.
well. Okay.
right?
I need to do that. I need the Ken method.
Just consider it. Just
I would
consider
love
it.
to do that. I would love to do that. But so that same thing happens with board games is what I'm trying to say. So then when
Yeah.
someone's explaining it, I'm just having a panic attack,
Right.
even if it's simple. And therefore then I just flip out. So my review of a game is like, what's your panic attack experience? Like it's not
This rule made me mad
yeah, it's not the
and
game.
sad.
It's like at what level were you freaking out is what so I'm not good at that either.
Well, Joe in the chat says he can't wait to learn new games at Nerdfest, so I hope you're
God
ready
damn it,
to.
Joe. God damn it, Joe.
I
Well,
love
When's
to learn
that?
games.
Now Joe knows. So
End
when
of
you
April.
see me flipping out, you know.
Yep.
It's like a
So.
month away.
Yeah, I
I
am excited
can't-
to see Joe though.
Well, go ahead, Ken.
I was just gonna quickly piggyback. I don't think I can ever go to a board game convention because of what you've just said.
Well,
Not
I
not because of what you just said, because I agree with what you
Yeah.
just said.
Because you said that, I
But-
tend to love
Because
it.
you
I
said
think-
that to me.
you ruined it for me.
Wow.
No, but I think last year, did we go? It was last year, right?
Yep.
Okay, it was just for a second it felt like it was more. I think I only learned like 1 or 2 new games, and one was just with like Natalie and Sam, which are like 2 good friends. Therefore, I'm like, okay, I don't feel quite as much
Yeah.
as like an
Yeah.
idiot. Blah blah blah. And then one was like a super simple game with someone, and it was just like a little quick card game, so it wasn't that like, okay, now we're gonna get to the hat, like some fucking scenario that you're like, oh my god.
All
where
right,
I'm
everybody take the hat out of their pocket.
Exactly.
I was supposed to bring a hat?
But other than that, when someone's like, you want to join in? I was like, no, I don't for any other game because
I'll watch.
I'm also not. I'm not gonna make it fun. It's gonna be me
Yeah.
just like it's not gonna be fun. So I just did not play games that
Well,
I
that
don't know.
stinks.
Well, a little hint at like, so what my topics are for tonight are the things that sort of like consumed me and the reasons why that like I felt like was a good reason for me to step away from the podcast, right? D&D
Ooh,
is a
okay.
different topic.
Yeah.
You know, Ken, obviously you play in one of the games. That's awesome. Emily doesn't care about D&D. We're not going to have a D&D podcast, right?
Yeah.
We're also I don't know that we should be reviewing board games necessarily because topic number 2, I don't think I'm a good reviewer, right?
Yeah.
And especially when people ask stuff like, can you tell if a game is good or bad after one play? I always want to be like, fuck
No.
off. Like, all games are fun. There aren't bad games.
That
Like,
is true.
put in some work and learn a game and have some fun with it. But I just like sitting at the table and playing stuff. There aren't any games I've ever played that I'm like, well, that wasn't fun. You know, a lot of people are like, I don't
That's
like this
true.
kind of game, or I don't like that kind of game, or don't make me play Ticket to Ride. It's like, I love everything. I
think you
actually
have
do. I'm
liked
not
everything.
being hyperbolic. I really love playing all games because I
Yeah.
just like playing games with people, and I don't care what the game is.
Yeah,
There
I don't
aren't
know if
games that
you've
are too hard
ever-
or too easy or whatever. As long as I can get people to play it, I'm going to have a good
Yeah.
time.
I feel like
And
that
so
is
I don't
true.
care what the game is. And so being a reviewer of games and trying to come on here and talk about our experiences with them, I think I can talk knowledgeably about the time that we had and talk about games, but can I actually recommend a game or not to people? Nah, because I'm just going to have fun no matter what.
Well, Joe said he's
think-
the same way. So you and him, best friends.
There we go. Oh, let's play some
Well,
games in Nerd Fest.
I think you guys are
I'll watch.
you're an outlier in that respect though.
Yeah.
So
I
you
think
are
so.
bad at reviewing games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think most people want the game to provide the fun
Yeah.
and to be the fun, entertaining person or entity
Mhm.
that is just gonna just let that fun flow over us, right?
Which
which
I mean,
is-
there are some games that you're like, yeah, I have
There
a
are
lot
some
more
that are
fun,
more fun than others, naturally,
Mhm.
but
but you still
like
have
you
to
said,
course.
Ben, you have fun
be with
all,
fun
so-
people and play with people, and yeah, so I agree.
Well, and I don't. We still have your guys' topics to go, so I don't want to bleed too much into my third topic.
got
My
nothing.
third topic is
I know
that
what mine
is
is.
is a little bit about like how easy is it to get people to play this with me. That's all that matters anymore.
Mm.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, Ken, what is your number 2?
I don't know. What's my number 2? Uh,
Jesus.
ooh, two shows, real quick.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Emily, I think you've mentioned the first, Severance. Ring a bell? No,
No, maybe not.
maybe. I feel like
Sounds
this
so
is
familiar. So now I'm like,
it's
did I?
100% up your alley. It's
write
I
this
think it's
down.
on Apple TV
Oh,
or
then we haven't.
something. Okay. It stars what's his name? Not Michael Scott. Adam Scott.
Adam
He was
Scott.
he was in Parks and Recreation. He's
Okay,
the
yeah.
boyfriend of Leslie Knope. He's in a lot of other stuff. He's very talented. It is a show about a man and a couple other people who work for a very trillion-dollar tech company who has created this thing where you can sever your mental consciousness and
Oof.
memories between work and everything else.
Ooh, this
You
just sounds
live
good.
two totally different lives. Um,
Okay.
you have no memory of the other.
Ooh, that's
That
So the
weird.
sounds cool.
person who is at work
Yeah.
continuously.
Mm.
The day ends and then the day
They just kind of
starts,
shut down.
Joe,
Yeah,
and
like
gosh, I
into.
need
and
that
you're
in my life.
Yeah, I know.
and
No,
you're
that'd be.
rested and you're
Yeah,
all
so you
these
don't have
sorts of
any like
things.
work worry essentially,
Right.
or
On the
home
other
life
hand,
worry.
at home, you're never doing anything. Um,
Ooh.
and what the show really is about is that a lot of the people who choose to do this, well, I'm only 2 episodes deep. It's fantastic. I'm scared to watch another one because
Okay, it
it's
sounds really
so
good.
like you have to be 100%
It's
ready
like you're. It
to.
sounds like you're going to therapy at the same time kind
It
of
does, it
scenario where you're
does,
like,
right? And
should I be?
is this a reflection of me?
Yeah, you're like, hold
Probably.
on.
Uh,
Yeah.
um, and
Uh,
so, but I'll give a little bit of a slight spoiler. The main character, Adam Scott, is there because his wife passed. He doesn't want to be at
oh
home.
shit. Okay.
Oh,
That yeah.
okay.
So
That throws in the
essentially
mix.
eliminating half of his life by being at work as a different person, he thinks will take away some of that pain. But the reality
Right.
is he's at home all the time.
All the
He's
time.
never at work.
And then you're also never like grieving in any way. Or you're yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So
And
it's
so
like
he just
a
sort of
yeah.
he instead of getting a break, he dives
Oof.
off the deep end
Ugh.
into
This is like
I'm
making me
here
sick
all the time.
already.
But that is only one half of it
Yeah.
because as over the first 2 episodes, again, so only slight spoilers, turn away now. The people at his work he is also encountering in real life,
Oh
but
shit.
they don't have any knowledge of each other, or
Whoa.
do they? So
Oh, okay.
that's the bubble
Interesting.
you're in.
That's
Okay.
great.
It's
This
That's
cool.
sounds
cool. This
cool.
sounds good.
And because it's a company sort of orchestrating this, there are people who have access to both of those worlds
Yeah, right? Okay.
because physically he commutes to work, he is at work, and then commutes home,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
has no memory of the two. You could have someone tail him
This is like insane.
24/7 because when he's at work, he doesn't remember what he's doing at home, so
Yeah.
he doesn't recognize people.
Whoa. Okay.
It's
Okay, this
really
is sounds
cool.
really good.
It's
Okay.
really cool. And then also my other show is X-Men 97 on Disney. It's a cartoon.
Ooh,
It's
yeah.
What is
very
that what you're
cool.
watching?
It's very
Was that what
cool.
you were?
It's
Yeah,
Yeah?
that's what I was watching. Yeah.
It was
it's like if
okay.
you took a childhood
Yeah.
cartoon and they just like, hey, we're just gonna make this like off the
Now,
rails
Why
cool.
my
does Magneto look like
I
that?
was gonna say
Why is
my
Cyclops so cool now, but also
but
still a dickhead?
I was gonna say Magneto, as soon as I saw it, I was like, yes, this looks exactly like
Jacked
childhood
twink.
cartoons. But Magneto, you were like, is he like a cross dresser? Like he is it's
He's got
weird the way he's
apparently
like
that's an early run on his costume. It's like
it's
a
rough.
sexy prom
So
look.
He's
yes.
got a lot of hair too.
He's got gloves
I
that
like
go up
the
to like
I
here
love
though.
long hair Magneto, but
But
he's got like
he's got
this
gloves to here.
shoulderless dress
Well,
on.
it's yeah, he's got like a weird like you said,
It's a
it's like a weird
bizarre
prom dress. And then he's got the long hair, so you're like, what are we
his
doing right now? But he's so serious where he's like, okay, I'm gonna
right. Right.
but you have gloves going you cannot talk to us seriously when
Homie,
you're
you are wearing bicep length
it's so
gloves.
weird.
Yeah.
Everything else looked exactly like a 1989 cartoon
Yeah.
scenario.
Yeah.
That was just weird when I saw him because
I
as soon as they said it was Magneto, I was like, no.
It has the look of the Saturday morning cartoon, but like when
It's a
spoiler for
little
episode 2.
spicier.
Magneto pulls that the council up into like high altitude, and he's like, I could kill all of you right now,
Yeah, it's a little more
but
harsh
I'm not
when
going
it comes
to.
yeah.
So
It's not.
take me seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say it's so. I think the original show ran from like 1994 to 96. And so canonically, 1 year
Ooh, it
has
was
passed.
just that though.
And this is
Oh, okay.
1997.
This is
In
97.
that, yeah, so that's why
What
it's
did
called X-Men
Magneto look
97.
back in the day? Did he
It's
look
the
like that?
classic red and purple
Right? Okay.
garbage can on his head. But this is a great show. I think a lot of animation recently has done this across shows like Invincible or movies like Spider-Verse, where this is when people say, "Oh, it's a mature show," or "It's an adult show," or like this is mature concepts and themes and characters. Mature is not boobs and blood. That
Right. It's not the
Yeah,
boys.
no.
the
Yeah.
opposite, right? That's adolescent, I
Okay,
would
so-
argue. So
Oh.
anyway, so if you liked the show back then in the late 90s, you're the target audience now because it's the same show, but it's tuned up to your age, essentially, right?
Craziness.
I keep
Super
seeing
cool.
different things where I'm like, am I just seeing the new No, you're right. He was the red and purple, and he had the full on helmet. Like you don't know
Yeah,
if he
he's
had
like
hair or
armored
not.
up.
But
Yeah.
he's got the full suit. He doesn't have the gloves that go up to
Now
here.
he's in like a skin tight bodysuit with no shoulders.
It
That's
is
all it
so
is.
weird. It
I like
is.
the long hair though,
It is
but anyway.
this though. I don't mind the long hair, but I don't. This is gonna be so poor. But look
Oh
at
no.
like,
Look at those gloves.
I know this like
Look
horrible
at
to
those
look at, but, like,
gloves.
why?
Excellent recommendations, Ken. One I completely agree
those are
with, and
good.
one that you have tantalized me so much that we're going to have to go
Yeah,
watch.
we do have to watch that.
Excellent.
He does have like a bathroom garbage can on his head in the '97.
All right, Emily, what's your number 2?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. My number 2 is we have been watching The Expanse. Okay, so we started watching this because friends recommended it, but they were like, "Hey, there's 6 seasons. It doesn't really get good until like 3." So we're like,
Ugh.
we gotta like power through.
That's a big
1 and
ass.
2. That's a big
Yeah.
ass, exactly. And if we just happened to stumble upon it, I would have stopped.
And that first season is,
Rough.
I can't believe they made a second.
Yep.
Really? That bad?
So the first, 1 through
The
3 was on
Expanse.
Sci-Fi, and then Amazon picked it up 4 through 6. But they are
Okay.
all on Sci-Fi, or no, sorry, all on Amazon if you want to watch them.
Now you can watch them
Now,
all on
yeah.
Amazon. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it
gotcha.
is based on a book. Obviously, it's gonna be different. All that crap.
Why
But-
did they change anything?
Yeah, exactly. I would definitely say season 1, 2. So I think are we on 3 right now?
We're
Ben?
on 4.
We're on 4. Okay. Yeah, I would say
Whoa.
at least 1 and 2 are like D-list material in a lot of ways.
The first half
Now,
of 2.
I
But
feel
then
like
the second half of 2
it did get kind of good,
gets kind of
but
crazy.
then when it started at 3, I fucking hated it again. The way they ended 2 and started 3. I'm going to say that right now. But my whole point is it is rough at first. And it's still not, I wouldn't say it's like amazing. I do find it interesting. I do want to know what happens. It is like a decent story. And now at this point, I do like some of the characters where I'm kind of like, I want to know what happens to, A, B, and C. But I mean, there's lots of things that the first couple seasons that you're like, it was fun to watch it because it was like goofy, is what I'm going to say. So, for example, obviously they have gravity in space, or they don't have gravity in space, but they have gravity boots, aka they're like magnet boots.
Yeah.
But it always seems that nothing else is happening, like gravity-wise, anti-gravity-wise. But like, it's like, oh well, our boots are clicking us in. It's like, yeah, but like shit would be like, like.
The,
Oh,
you know what
okay.
I mean?
the
I gotcha.
cost of filming it in
Yeah.
like
I
actual
get.
0G.
I get that they're not going to do that, and they're like, gravity boots make sense. They can walk around. But it's
I
also
gotcha.
the thing that you're like, yeah, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Okay, so it's shit
Well.
like that you have to be like, okay, whatever, I got it.
Whatever.
I
Yeah.
get it.
The reason why that matters is I feel like the thing that hooks you in this show is that it's hard sci-fi and it's pretty realistic. And then the plot sort of keeps you there. I feel like the plot, once it catches up, is like kind of like, well, now I need to know what happens.
Once it catches up.
But the sort of like the premise of it being like near future hard sci-fi is the initial hook. So you really notice the stuff that sort of breaks any rules.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, all the spaceships are shaped not like planes, but they're shaped like skyscrapers because they don't need
just
to be
maximum
aerodynamic.
capacity.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
gravity on the
Yeah.
ship if the engine is running because it has acceleration. And then when
Yeah.
the engine turns off, it's 0G. Like there's really sort of like hard sci-fi
Which I'm sure in the book
stuff.
is like
Right.
obviously makes sense in this and that. And I understand for the show they couldn't do that. But there's just some things that then I find so goofy when they're like gravity boats and you're like, okay, like we get it.
Yeah.
Everybody's got magnet boots.
Everyone's got them. But then,
so they could actually film the scenes.
So in like
That's
the
why
first,
everybody has
yeah,
magnet
so in
boots.
the
Yeah.
first 2 seasons, there's also a character, Joe Miller. Okay, Joe Miller. First of all, is
I'm working on the Joe Miller hair.
Yeah,
I don't quite have it.
So Joe Miller shows up with hair that's buzzed and a section that's long like,
no.
to his shoulder.
Imagine if this was like came.
like to his chin. It goes like to his chin.
Does it?
Yes, it's like so long at first.
Yuck.
Anyway, Joe is like a 1950s like
PI.
yeah.
Private
What?
dick.
It's such a joke. Where he has the hat on. He's got the 1950s, PI hat, and he's always like,
The driving crooner
"Hey
hat.
guys, so we
Yeah.
should really check on this lady." And he's like knocking on shit. He's
Right,
always
so he's like-
knocking on shit. Yeah. So it's that mixed with like
Super weird.
it's the future and this
Why
and
is he
that.
like that?
I don't know. It's Joe.
He's always looking for Julie.
It's Miller. I don't know.
Julie.
So after a while, it was almost where it was like, where's Miller? Because it's so fun to have him around because it's like a fun D-list. and all that.
Bizarre.
At
Huh.
first, you're like, this guy is making this.
Yeah, you're like,
he's
you're ruining
breaking
my life.
me
Unbelievable.
out of the imaginary
Yeah.
world. Every
Yeah.
time this guy comes on the screen. But then by the end of like a season 2, you're like, I
where's
miss
Miller?
Miller. Where
Where's
is
Miller?
Miller?
Miller was at least giving us something. So if you were to actually watch this, I would say not until at least season 3. Are you
man.
where are you like, I like these characters and I feel like I'm kind of enjoying. Now there's a little bit of a story before that, but there's a lot of politics too, which I'm like, I don't fucking care. I don't care about that kind of.
If it's done well, I like politics. I like.
The main
Yeah,
story is,
Intrigue.
is political.
Yeah.
It's between
At
Earth,
first, you're
Mars,
like-
and the Belters.
Okay. Also, even if you haven't watched this, all the people who live on Mars, it's not many, they suck. They all are total assholes.
Very
I'm going to say
mean.
right now. They're all mean. They're all assholes. And the main person who is the character that you keep seeing who's on Mars is obviously Australian. But it doesn't quite make sense because I don't know, no one else on Mars has this accent. So I don't know where she got her very thick Australian accent. So then when she's like, it's Bobby, and she's like so fucking
Bobby Draper?
Australian that you're like,
Bobby.
I don't know if you'd be Australian growing up on Mars. I'm just gonna, there's shit like that that you're like, why would she, if you guys are you all grew up on Mars, you were born and raised on Mars.
Oh, I
Why
see.
would she be
Okay.
Australian and someone else is not?
Because she couldn't do an English accent, and they didn't want to hire
Doesn't
somebody
make sense.
more expensive. Yeah.
There's lots of things that are like goofy funny. Now I'm kind of, now I'm just invested. Whether or not I think it's goofy.
Sure,
or not.
you're in too deep. That's
Um,
fine.
It's good enough that then
It's
you
good enough.
can't get
and
away.
now there are some characters that at least I'm like somewhat rooting for.
Gotcha.
But that is what we've been watching. But half the time it's an episode and it's just me. Ben Prey hates it. It's just me yelling the whole time like it's a D list. And I'm like, are you seeing this? And I'm just like losing my mind. But I mean, overall, I'm enjoying it. We're definitely going to finish it. But it's, man,
Is it done, or are they gonna? Is there gonna be a new
so there's
season?
6 seasons.
Oh, it's
and
finished. Okay.
Yeah, but
All right.
I don't know.
And it
No.
ends. It doesn't do the last. In my understanding, it does not do the last story arc from the books,
okay.
but it does up to like it finishes a story
Something.
arc.
It finishes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a time jump in the books, and then there's another story
And then,
arc.
but I don't know. There's a lot. I mean, I would say it's kind of like goofy more than anything, at least at first. But I don't know. That's what we've been doing though. So
Excellent.
Okay.
I'm gonna recommend that.
Well, let's wrap this up with our final, number 3, continuing along the theme of things changing. I don't want to teach complex games anymore.
Yes,
I have
we
stopped
broke
doing
them.
that.
Okay.
You broke me.
Can you give me a second?
Sure.
Oh, that sucks. That sucks.
And it feeds into what we were saying before. The only reason I play games anymore is to have fun with people. And it feels like playing a complicated game is a bit of a selfish endeavor. Because most of the people that I play games with don't get the same, do not get fun from the games being complex, for them being
Sure.
heavy, right?
I can understand that. Yeah.
And there's a large investment in learning, teaching. I'll play anything. If somebody wants to teach me a heavy game, sure,
Of
absolutely
course.
not. I don't really have any problems. It's just I'm a visual sort of audio learner. If somebody stands there and teaches me a game, sure, I'm on board. Let's go. Let's play. Am I going to do well? Who cares? But I know what to do now. You taught it to me. Let's have some fun. So for me, like, weight is not necessarily a factor of whether I am going to enjoy a game or not. I
Right.
can play a game. It's like a non-factor essentially. I don't really care how heavy a game is. Now, I like to play heavy games because I think they're interesting, but a lot of times you invest a ton of work to create an experience that most of the time on their first play, people do not have a positive experience from. Right. And if I'm going to
Yeah.
put that much work in, and I think a lot of this has been taught through playing RPGs, if I'm going to put that much work into trying to make fun for a night of people, I am not going to do it by trying to teach people a game they probably don't want to play anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
You know? And
Yeah.
if you make any mistakes, if you mess up a game with complicated rules,
Yeah, man.
now
I mean,
you're suddenly the bad guy, right? There's no like grace on, well, this was complex, so it's okay that you made a mistake. A lot of times people are pretty much like, why didn't you tell me that? Or, and they're not, they don't like, I don't mean it in a way that they're like not well-meaning. You know, people aren't like getting upset or whatever, but nobody's ever like appreciative of the fact that you were trying to explain something that is actually really hard to teach. They just are like, well, this is too complicated for me and I'm not having any fun. And that whole back and forth experience of like trying to learn a complicated game and then teach it and then trying to get people to agree to play it and then even have any sense of fun while they're doing it, it just doesn't feel very often like the effort is worth the payback. And so I kind of have like no drive to, and nobody else, you know, since I stopped, it's not like anybody else is picking up that mantle. Right?
Yeah. Well, I hear you, and I apologize because I'm a part of the group that will be the first one to. No, this is not a pity party for me. I'm the first one to roast you when there's a rule that maybe didn't get brought up in the 20 minutes of rules that I also did not listen to. Right. The point being,
That's true.
you did explain this to me. I also tuned out. You know, so it's on me, I think, as a player. But I get what you're saying, man. I mean, I think we talked about it before. The game can't be the source of fun.
Yeah.
Right.
In a way.
And there's
And
no way for a rules teacher to make sure that the game is going to be fun.
Right. Because, in fact, you have to stick to the rules, and sometimes the rules are bad. Let's be honest.
Right.
They're not always perfect. They're not always centered on people having a great time, because there's only going to be one winner in most games. There's going to be multiple losers. There's going to be people who timed out, didn't care, lost because they played bad. You know, there's 1,000 different factors working against you as teaching the game.
Yeah, and I would say in general, it takes about the same amount of prep time to read a complicated game rule book for the first time, punch the game out, get it set up, understand how you're going to teach it, and teach it to somebody, that prep time is roughly about the same amount of prep time that I would spend on one night of D&D. And in the and instead of like I'm doing all this work just to do something that probably only I'm going to have fun with, instead I can spend the same amount of work and time to do something that everybody is definitely going to have fun with. And so there's no incentive there to try to acquire and play and teach heavy games anymore when we have this other option now of like I can put the same amount of work in. I have just as much fun I have way more fun getting ready for it. Prep is actually fun. I'm not reading a rule book. And then we all get to have fun during the game. And it's not dependent upon only, and so what? Like the amount of fun you can have playing an RPG is so much greater than the amount of fun you can have playing a board game that I have no incentive anymore to put all that work into learning and teaching complex board games. That's essentially my summary statement for my number 3.
Well done.
I get it.
Totally agree. Yeah. I mean, why do you think I played board games with you? If I played with anybody else, they'd expect me to do it.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
It's
it's a high risk, zero reward situation.
Yeah, you're
to
not
be
having
honest.
fun
Right.
at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good on you. Sorry that it is brutal to get there, I think. To be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
I've followed you very closely, sometimes online, sometimes in real, right? You're a hard-working dude. Might be a fault, to be honest with you.
Emily may disagree.
Pat yourself on the
I'm
back.
just kidding.
You work too hard. Take it easy, man.
Chill.
That is true.
Yeah.
Chill, bro.
Yeah.
That is true.
Now that I got that off my chest,
gosh.
Ken, what is your number 3 for this podcast?
I don't know. Who cares anymore? Go play Helldivers on PlayStation or
Hell
PS5.
yeah.
Wait, is that the one I
If
saw
you-
you played the other day, Ben?
No.
What was the one with the creepy scene?
What was happening in
Creepy
it?
scene.
It was like a sex scene on the bed. What was that one?
Oh,
Ooh,
Baldur's
nice.
Gate?
Yes.
I was gonna say, hell yeah.
Well, it was the
Hot,
most
horny garbage.
I found Raphael's Cambion in his like chambers, and he was like wearing leathers.
But here's the thing.
Ambien, is that like a
That's a half
prescription
devil,
drug?
half human. It was
Cambrian. I take Cambrian, and my erections are stronger than ever.
you know when you go to
No?
the House of Hope, and did you ever go to the House of Hope? Raphael's place in the hell, and if you go to like the bedroom, then the one dude is like wearing the leather straps,
Yeah,
and he's like
being a
well, we
creep
can
on the
have some
bed.
fun while we wait for Raphael.
And he's like, "Do you want me to stay like this or turn?"
Maybe
into
I
a
didn't go to
lady?"
Raphael's.
Okay,
I don't
in that
remember.
though, at some point it was like, so I sat down here saying to Ben, and then he was like, "Oh, what should I do?" And I was like, "We're gonna fucking make them do some shit." Is essentially what I said. So I made
Nice.
him do weird shit, and then
Freak it up.
immediately hated it. So the camera, so like Ben's guy had to like strip naked.
He was
okay?
a half orc barbarian, so green skin.
but
Jacked.
honestly,
What I'm
it-
hearing is ripped, jacked,
Yeah.
striated,
It was good
Yeah.
at that point. No.
thick as brick. Yeah.
So from the waist down, obviously they don't show anything. Like you take stuff off.
From
Then
the waist
camera-
down?
No, I'm saying they don't
Like-
show the waist down.
Oh,
But
like
then
widescreen,
the
just
camera does an
pelvic bone?
angle. Here's the camera angle then. So we have the
Okay.
bed. You're looking at the bed, and it's if you drop down and you were looking
Mhm.
between his fucking legs. So you can see a
Ugh.
little bit of the ball sack hanging down.
No.
Yep. Yep. And
There's
that's when I go,
sack
we gotta
in Baldur's
get
Gate? You get to see not just sack, but back sack.
back sack, his legs, back sack, and she's talking on the bed. And that's when I went, we got to get out of here. We got to get out.
Wait,
It's wild,
wait,
wild stuff.
wait.
Yes.
It was funny of how much I've played Baldur's Gate and the joke that it's nothing but
Stop.
sex scenes,
No,
which it's
that's-
not. That's the only experience Emily has had of it.
It's like, I'm down here for
So-
2 minutes, and we got back sack between the legs. So,
There's
Yeah.
a creature on the bed.
yep, there's someone on the bed talking,
I'm
and then
just-
someone standing in front. Okay, and
Right.
then you said, "Let's put the camera between their legs." From down, you're
It was
looking up, so you see
it was
a little
definitely
bit.
purposeful.
You see
But
the.
physically, they're like 30 feet apart.
I mean,
Maybe
20,
15.
15,
yeah,
10.
whatever. Yeah.
Sure.
So it's him standing. You got a little ball sack. You got the cameras going between, and she's like doing her.
You're
chit-chat.
telling me that
That's
they
the
framed
angle.
up
Yeah.
somebody hanging brain.
And that's
Yeah.
so that
No.
was before the sex scene, and I was like, no. And then we had to watch the like creepy sex scene that happened.
You
after
have to
that.
watch it. I mean, you have to.
Also, she.
I think it's
it
required.
Was.
I did have to stop it mid scene though because I'm pretty sure my brain was being eaten or something
Yeah,
like that.
it was like you would have like blown up or
I had to
some
put a
shit
stop to
if
it.
I don't know.
Oh.
Your character would have
Okay,
died
sure.
or something.
That's-
Things were getting off the
Spoilers.
rails.
Yeah.
But that whoever was like, what if we did the camera between his
Why
legs?
would they?
I don't know.
I mean,
This is the same group of people that was like, if you hook up with the druid, you can be like, he goes, how about we make things a little furrier?
Ew,
And he
babe.
turns
I
into
was.
a bear.
I almost defended the bear position. Hold on. Let me see if I want to do this.
I honestly would be more fine with that than the camera
Than the
angle.
back sack?
of
Well,
the-
I
just
I
there's
think
no
my
need
point.
for that. What is
My
the
point
need
is
for
that those are two very different things.
Yeah.
Sure, if you want to have sex with a bear, that is a thing that you can want to do.
Right. Not. Yep.
Visually, though, artistically, game design wise,
Yep. We don't need to
back
be.
sack.
Yep. Yeah.
We have gotten so far from
It was
hell
very-
divers at this point.
Who
sorry.
At,
Yeah. I'm so
who
sorry.
at Larian Studios?
Right? Who was like, hey, what if?
All right.
I want to talk
What if?
to the person.
Yeah.
And it was where the camera like it like pan, it like moved in.
Went past a cheek,
Went back
and
one
then-
leg, one cheek, and then you were like, oh,
kind of like.
we're looking at
Did
something
it do
else.
like a?
Yep. Yeah. So that was not necessary in any
That is
way.
Emily's only experience with Baldur's
And
Gate.
then I was like, I think I need to go
I
upstairs.
mean, that's
is
pretty
what-
much how the game goes.
Right, you got most of what the game is in that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's
you got
most
it.
of the plot.
I'm sorry. I took over though, but that was
You got
I
it.
just
No, that's it.
specifically remember
I'm glad you
that.
brought that up. I'm glad we touched
It
on
haunts
Baldur's
my
Gate.
nightmares, so
Play Baldur's Gate's a really great
Anyway, that's why you should play Helldivers too.
game. All right,
There we
excellent.
go.
doesn't
We're done.
have-
What is your number three?
doesn't have that camera angle is what we're
I
getting
also
at.
second play Helldivers 2. That
Okay.
game is
My
incredible.
number 3 is very lighthearted. Here we go. So today we are at Target. We saw limited edition strawberry and cream coffee.
Limited
Okay.
edition.
Yeah, limited edition.
Okay.
What do you? Yeah. So I said, this is sick. What the fuck?
Gross.
And so I bought it, obviously.
Strawberries and cream coffee
Coffee.
grounds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I
Ugh.
said, this is disgusting.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. So we tried it.
Mm.
Essentially, what it does is the sweetness takes out the bitterness. So it's just kind of a smooth
Sure.
coffee. I thought it was going to be the grossest thing I've ever tried in my life. But anyway,
Yeah.
so I looked up some 2000s limited edition foods, and I just wanted to see if you guys have had any of these, essentially.
Okay. I
Oh,
hope the like.
can I have
colored
30
ketchups is
seconds?
in here.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, thank you, because I want to do this.
All right. Ken steps out
Okay.
for 30 seconds. This coffee was not bad. Not bad.
So it reminded me smell wise of the if you've ever had the instant like strawberries and cream oatmeal. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Mhm.
Like it's that like strawberry smell.
I know that like you're microwaving the
Yes, you're
strawberries and
mic-
cream oatmeal packet. Yep.
Exactly. Is that smell, but then when you drink it, it doesn't taste like that. It's like it just cut out the bitterness. Is what the sweetness did. It was weird. It wasn't bad though. I was expecting to be like throwing up, like gross, but it wasn't.
I can't believe for the entire experience that Baldur's Gate offers, which is a really spectacular
I got a
game.
really good
Your only experience with it.
was disturbing. It didn't help that your guy's like a fucking weird orc shit. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. I don't care if it's a model.
You
I
need
don't
play
want
that.
to see
You
that.
know what I want to do? I want you to play Baldur's
No,
Gate, and I'll just
no.
watch.
Well, I'm not gonna get in that sitch. I can tell you that.
Well, not yeah. We can guarantee you won't
Not
be in
doing
that situation.
Okay.
All right, food,
You ready,
limited
Ken?
edition food from the 2000s.
Oh wait, do you
Yeah.
guys remember 3D Doritos?
Yeah. Yep,
No.
The puffed
You guys-
ones.
Yeah. Did you
They
ever
were
have those?
gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I
that was
never
one
had
of the
one of
things.
those.
I
They were
remember.
a
I
waste.
don't understand why chips need to be 3D, but okay. One of them. Most of these you probably don't know. Do you remember Shrek Twinkies? They are.
I
No.
don't know that I've ever had a
Half
Twinkie.
Twinkie. Yeah.
Well, these are
Agree.
ochre green creamy filling Twinkies. Because it's supposed to be like
Anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a hot mess.
Joe
Yep.
wants to know if you think there would have been a better character option for the back sack other than a half-orc barbarian.
Guess a hot
No, that
guy?
seems like the
I
obvious
don't
choice,
want- I don't-
actually.
yeah, I probably want that more than anything. I just don't want to
Right.
see that. Period.
I don't need dragon
Never
scales.
am I
I don't
like
need.
looking. And I'm never looking from that angle to talk to another person. I'm like, hey,
That's what I don't
what-
understand about it is
Hey, what are you doing? over- never. That's not
I'm not-
happening.
yeah,
Why was he standing so like legs apart too? When he, whatever.
that's what
Okay.
you do when you're a half-orc barbarian about
What
to.
else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, another thing. I've never heard of this. There was a Velveeta cheese truffle. So it is a white chocolate
Ugh.
shaped like a noodle, like the Velveeta noodle, filled with Velveeta.
Velveeta
Wait,
noodle.
what? You're saying that there was white chocolate
chocolate on the
filled with
outside.
Velveeta?
Yes, and this was a limited edition.
No. No. No.
like so
There isn't
My
that actually.
face itches thinking about that.
What?
Ugh. I don't know.
Velveeta truffle?
Yeah,
Truffle.
Velveeta cheese truffle. If you look it up.
Ah, no. No,
Did
no,
you
no, no,
find
no.
it, like, immediately?
Hell no, dog.
Truffvel. No, they were called truffels.
Oh, sorry.
Ooh.
sorry.
I like that. I'll
Not
have a
truffle,
truffle.
There you go.
Truffel.
But why put Velveeta in it?
Ah.
Yeah.
what?
Oh,
Okay.
you're saying, yeah. Ooh.
No, yeah. You're saying, I like you're saying no, yeah. Ugh.
Ugh.
There was
Mm.
jalapeno M&Ms. That seems like not
Really?
a combination I want though.
Yeah.
Like, why-
Well,
Would I want that with
Isn't,
chocolate though?
chocolate and like a little bit of heat is
is true.
okay.
But I don't think M&M chocolate is that kind of.
No, it's
chocolate.
milk chocolate. And then jalapeno is also the wrong heat for like a sort of a subtle
Like a spice.
complex.
Yeah. It's not like
yeah.
a dark chocolate spice
Right.
that we're going
The
on.
Right.
first thing
Yeah.
you'll notice when you bite into a truffle,
truffle.
is the flavor of high-quality white chocolate. This pleasure is short-lived, as the salty taste of Velveeta soon makes an appearance.
Oh,
From then on,
You're gonna make me
there's
throw
a
up.
battle
Please
between
stop.
the sweet and creamy white chocolate and its salty foe.
oh my gosh. Nope. Ken's done.
I don't want to hear
Okay.
that.
Here's one for you guys.
Joe says you just want dark chocolate and chili at most, but I thought he
Yes.
typed
Yeah.
dark chocolate and chill.
I mean,
Like Netflix and
That's
chill.
fine.
I'll have
dark
that
chocolate
too.
and chill.
That sounds great.
That sounds wonderful.
I'll dark chocolate and chill. Budweiser Clamato. Is it Clamato? Like tomato?
That I remember.
Clamato?
I never had that
Clam-
though.
Do you say
Yeah,
that?
don't think I've had what
So
it's
it
called like
Tomato
a
is
red
like-
beer
is-
or something.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah.
lime, salt, clam water, and beer. But I just
It's
I
just
don't know.
it's like a watered down Bloody Mary.
yeah,
It's fine.
which isn't horrible, but I don't know.
I like my problem is I like my Bloody Marys like
Do you want
thick.
where you have like a?
congealed.
Do you want
where you
the
can
where you
slide
have like
the-
essentially a meal on top?
Yeah.
Well,
Here's
and
a
I
little
never want it
burger.
watered down. I want it
Here's-
zesty.
Burger.
I want
Right.
I want there to be like some zing. I'm having it because it's like a poo. It's like a
It's
gotta be a little
supposed, I
spicy,
want that
right?
horseradish in there. I want it to wake me up and
Yeah.
breathe something
It's
into me.
Yeah,
spicy.
I don't think you ever want like a watery beer with a
I don't
little
want
taste
a beer.
of.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want tomato in a beer for breakfast.
Clamato juice is
Nothing.
popular in Canada. We call them Caesars. Yuck.
Easterners?
Thanks, Joe.
The last one was Pepsi did a Pepsi maple syrup cola with IHOP, which I can like Pepsi doesn't need more sugar.
get it.
Though. But can you imagine how much? Ben, can you
And
look up how
IHOP
much sugar is in
Pepsi?
that? in an IHOP
I
Pepsi
need to
maple
look
Hold
up
syrup.
an
on,
IHOP
hold on.
Pepsi. Hold on.
I'll
much-
bet you
I bet
that
it's
an
like
IHOP
62.
Pepsi has less sugar
Than
than a
regular?
modern Pepsi.
Let's find out.
How many
Okay.
grams?
IHOP
For 12
Pepsi.
ounces.
It's a maple.
Maple.
Yeah.
Nutrition facts. Sorry, you guys never
Oh my
listen to
God.
me crack all my fingers.
Do it.
Yeah, you're right. No, wait. Wait,
Really?
what? No, that's the syrup. Hold on. That's just the syrup. 1 ounce of the syrup had
180.
110 calories. I don't know how
Yeah.
much goes into it.
Oh my gosh.
Well, divide it by 4, and you'll get your grams.
30
sugar.
ounce Pepsi maple
Where's my
syrup.
phone?
How many calories?
30 ounce.
Yeah, what?
It says 110 calories, but that's only in 1 ounce of the syrup.
That doesn't help.
Holy
One
shit.
That's one
This
serving.
sounds like you would like die.
I don't know. Maybe that is 27 grams. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I cannot find good information at
matter.
the
Good
moment.
luck.
We'll continue on. Do you
Irrelevant.
have any more?
That's all I got. That's all I got right now.
Whew.
I
All
never
right,
saw
guys.
that one.
It's been a wild ride,
Oh wait,
but
here's
it's good
one.
to be back.
It is 41 grams of sugar.
Oh,
In
Oh,
that
I
one.
think a regular Pepsi's like
Isn't it-
47.
Yeah, let's find out.
man, there was less in the maple syrup Pepsi. That's wild. That's wildin'.
Let's see.
I
A regular one is, it says 41. So maybe they're
Oh.
wait.
Never mind.
Fascinating.
Wait, that doesn't make sense. Hold on.
Well, while she's
Yeah,
typing
I think
away
it's
over there,
about the
getting
same.
crazy.
Okay.
It's been good to be back. I don't know if this is going to
Yeah.
happen anymore or regularly, but man,
Wait,
you know, we
Good to
just
talk
couldn't,
with you guys.
do you have
we
a would you
couldn't
rather, Ben?
resist. So I think Emily has a would you rather. Ken, do you? I do not.
just
I
found
don't.
one.
You know I don't
I just
prepare my
found
would
one.
rathers. Yeah.
Emily, could you close out the show with a would you rather
Okay,
for
this
us?
is for you guys because you guys are both tall.
Okay.
Would you rather be, I'm going to even shorten it a little bit. Would you rather be 5'5", but you have like the best hair on earth, like until the age of 90, right?
it long?
Full
Is
head
it
of
just
hair,
like
luscious, however you want.
looking
Whatever
Like
I wanted to
perfect
do.
Hair.
Oh.
But you're 5'5" with the perfect hair, or you're like your normal height, like 6 feet or over.
I want Super
but you
Saiyan
have
3
the receded
golden
hairline
mane.
and like you're struggling.
An actual Super Saiyan. I think 5'5" is about right. Right? For
Okay, so those are your
Uh,
choices.
Wait, what was my other
Sorry,
choice?
5'5" and
what's
good
my-
hair, or
what's my hair
above
by-
6 feet and you have like receding hairline, balding, like you're struggling.
I'm above 6 foot. I'm going Prince William, whatever he
You're
is.
keeping the height.
You have to. 5'5" is very short. I'm sorry. Short kings.
We just lost 2.
It's very
listeners.
short.
No, I don't know.
Yeah. And that's coming from a heightist, right?
Wait, is there a height that you would switch?
Where's the sweet spot?
Where's the
that's
you would switch?
Yeah, I like that. Where do
Like,
I?
if you go down, so what
Would
are
I
you,
be
6'2"?
any shorter?
Are you 6'2" or 6'3"?
No, sure, either one doesn't
Whatever.
matter.
So if you're lowering inch by inch, at what point are you like,
Right.
I'll stop and then get the good hair?
Got the good hair. I don't have awful hair, but it's definitely on its way out.
Is it?
So, see, but if I'm 6'2" and I say 6 foot, that's a cop out. That's no genie's gonna give me that deal.
No, that's true. I guess
So
that
it's
was,
gotta
uh,
be.
Yeah, it has to
How-
be under.
how tall
let's
is
say it has
my
to be
wife?
under. Has to be under 5'10", 5'10" or under.
You just want to be a
Oh.
little taller than your wife?
Yeah.
Megan's like
And I
5'7".
think she's-
I think, isn't she?
Yeah.
5'7",
I'll
5'8".
be- Okay, I'll take 1 inch taller than her. That would be my deal.
Would it be so weird to be like, when you stand next to her, it's like eye to eye, like it's.
Well, and like I see it on it's either TikTok or Instagram or something. I saw a bunch of like memes of women dating taller men, and they're like, "This is what I look like to you,"
yeah,
right? And
like
it's
a
sort of
small
like it's
child,
all
like-
shoulders, and they're looking up at them.
Well, that's essentially me with anyone that I
Well, and
meet.
in contrast, it's like I start to realize everybody looks at me like this sort of sometimes, and it's a very unflattering
I just every now and then, like,
angle.
if Ben is like leaning against something or sitting, and like, just imagine if this was our height, like
We're
it's
eye to eye.
like eye to eye, and I'm
Wouldn't
sorry, I
hate
can't
it,
imagine.
I guess.
But
I mean, like, it would be. It's so like Ben, you're what? You're 10 inches taller than me.
Holy
yeah,
cow!
I guess that's true.
I mean, Ken, you're a foot taller than me, which is insane.
Yes.
And most of your friends, Ben, are a foot or taller than me.
Yeah,
That's
you
true. I'm
So-
short.
have a
I'm short in the
very
friend
So
group.
it would be so weird if all of a sudden everyone was my height. I'd be like, I don't like this. Is this weird?
I don't understand. What is it about, like, why I'm 6 feet tall and I am the shortest one of my friends?
It is so that is true.
That is something I
so
realized
weird.
every time I show up to LAN is like
Yeah, I know.
I know
it's like
I know this
giants
guy's
there.
tall and this guy's tall, but then I get there and I realize, oh no, everybody who I thought was like short is maybe a half inch shorter than me.
Yeah.
If I have my shoes
Yeah,
on.
the short guy
You
at
know?
LAN
Like the
is-
shortest
is
guy at
6
LAN.
feet. Yeah, 6 feet.
You're pretty
Nick,
close.
Evan, like, all
Evan,
those guys
like,
are giant.
I think
Just
Evan is
stretches.
6'3" or
Yeah.
6'4". He's something insane. And then Seth is, I think Seth is 6'2".
Seth's
or
tall?
6'3".
They're all
I don't
tall.
know.
I
It's
don't-
insane though. That's why when I go to hang
You'll-
out with everyone, I'm essentially like, I'm just staring up. Everyone's like a foot taller than me.
Man, if somebody was like, but I just don't know why I would give up any of my height for my hair. Like, take it off.
Yeah, I don't
I'll
need
just
the
shave
hair.
it
I'll
off.
be
I don't
bald.
need the hair.
Okay, so
It's
that's
not a
what,
trade.
That is what
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
not gonna give up
trying
any of my height for hair. I'll just
Okay.
lose the hair. I don't give. I don't
Okay.
care.
Well,
Well,
I think that's
the-
what it's trying to figure out, and you just
Like you
told
said,
me.
the Super Saiyan hair,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
it doesn't. I mean, it'd be cool, but I'll get a wig, man.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, I think we got our answer.
It's a lot easier to get hair plugs than
Height.
femur extensions.
That's true.
So
That's very true. Yeah. I see
All
that.
right, and with that, I think this brings
Oh.
another episode to a close. So thank you for everybody who turned in live. We really appreciate it. And for anybody who's catching this on YouTube, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next Date Night D list. I think we owe you the Huntsman 2 or something like that.
The
gross.
Prequel sequel.
I can't wait.
Prequel sequel.
So from everybody here at the Date Night Dice Studios, thank you for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
You've been driving with the driving crooner.